to kind of go back and watch this that aired in 2012 to kind of see how much damage Mike Lee has done, right? And how crazy he is. And back then it seemed unfathomable that somebody could run to the right of somebody like Bob Bennett, who had this, 100% conservative voting record. And all that's happened since then is an increasing hostile takeover, if not a coup, from this far right wing, almost, religious, unmoved by facts, anti-science, anti-woman. They do call it, I think later in this episode, the American Taliban. They're like, some people might call it Republicans. Some people may even call them the Tea Party. I call them the American Taliban.
Well, and QAnon, because there's a bunch of conspiracy theories that have now become fact and gospel in the Republican Party.
Mainstream. Totally. Yeah. And so, I think about that and how the Republicans, they get in line, right? They get in line behind each other. They don't question, or if they certainly don't do any questioning in a public forum, and anybody who does is thrown out. And he makes this comparison to back in the 60s. There were, pretty moderate liberals at the time who were trying to make points. But they never would have stood next to somebody like Abby Hoffman, who was really kind of very radical and very far left, even though they may have shared values like, standing up against Vietnam War and things like that. Because it would have seemed crazy, and no, formidable candidate would have sought their endorsement. And that really kind of brings me to today and what's going on with the Democratic Party. And there might be shared values or shared goals about, socialized medicine, or, women's rights or rights at all, anti-Trump. But what's come down to is this one fundamental value or stump speech that the far left seems to be running on, which is anti-Israel and AIPAC, which really have nothing to do with anything else and our quality of lives here and the things that we're fighting for. And there is a hostile takeover and a coup happening within the Democratic Party, as all of these far left DSA candidates are to the left of these already very liberal representatives, and they're winning. And it's the same thing that is happening now that happened to the Republicans back in 2010. And it's, we talk about this every day, privately and publicly, at least Julie and myself, and about how we have to save our party from the radicalization of the far left. And some people may disagree with me on that, and that's fine. But guys, we're in trouble.
Yeah. And if you look and see who's taking over these campaigns, these people, it's all the same people. It's this guy, Morris Katz, who's 27 years old, Nepo baby from New York City, who hit the jackpot by pitching his star to, I think, the most talented politician of our generation, or not our generation, Michelle and Lawrence, the generation below us.
No, it's my generation. He's a millennial.
Madani's a millennial? I thought he was a... Okay, well, your generation.
Millennials start with me, right? Like 1980, and it goes for like 17 years. So
okay, all right. So Zohran Mamdani, the most talented politician of Michelle's generation. This is also the guy that brought us John Fetterman, and also the guy who, by the way, is the biggest proponent of AIPAC of all time. So I don't really fucking want to hear it. And now who brought us Graham Plattner, and is considered to be some sort of genius. What's genius about this kid? He lost every race he was ever involved in. He hit the jackpot with Mamdani, and the one race that he did win was Fetterman.
Well,
are we better off with Fetterman, or would we have been better off with Connor Lamb?
Well, Connor Lamb, obviously. And that I remember shouting from the rooftops at the time, Connor Lamb, Connor Lamb, Connor Lamb. And they're like, you're a Republican. I'm like, what? But the thing is about this, that there's twofold here. Now, Lawrence, I don't know if you've been here when I've tried to make this argument that so many of these men on the left wanted to be the stars in their school musicals, but they didn't, and they weren't good enough. So they went into politics instead and decided to ruin the world. This is how I feel about Morris Katz. This is the kind of kid who should have gone into theater or been a casting director, but he couldn't hack it. And so he decided to get into politics to try to like put on a show for all of us and ruin the world. this other guy, Daniel Marab. Now you may have seen him talking about, Graham Plattner and say, did you guys find? I don't know if you saw this. He is the heir to Toys R Us.
Didn't Toys R Us go bankrupt?
I guess, but his
yeah,
grandfather founded
Toys R Us.
Toys.
He's literally the Toys R Us kid.
Right. He's the Toys R Us kid.
He's
and
literally the Toys R Us
it went
kid.
bankrupt. And Michelle, I haven't heard your metaphor before, and it's perfect, right? Like these guys need to be the center of attention. They couldn't get cast in the school musical, and so they were like, but I'm a really good public speaker, so I will go into politics.
I mean, Mamdani's kind of the same. I mean, he was a performer before. I'm just saying. Not that he's not a good mayor. People, I'm sure, feel that way, but like
great politician. I'm not even talking about Mamdani here. Mamdani, listen to Mamdani's
yeah,
credit.
Mamdani. Like
Mamdani got elected. Like man, like have no problem with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have my issues with him, but not
in that way.
Not based on this conversation.
Yeah.
But to give the Democratic Party over to these wackadoodles who don't vet anybody. And then when problems arise, like, oh, I don't know, women consistently saying that this guy is trouble, Black people saying, you know what? I have a problem with this guy because he said that Black people are bad tippers and other horrible things. Went crazy in the LGBTQ community, said that women deserve, who had a drink and then got raped, had it coming. And that's before all the sexual assault allegation. And every single time these people doubled down. That's the part that kills me. Every single time they've doubled down. Now, let me say this as somebody who's worked in politics. I get it. You're in the fucking bunker when you're on a campaign. It is the only analogy I could think of, and I don't want to insult veterans by saying this because obviously nobody's risking their lives, but the only analogy I can think of is you're literally in the foxhole. They're shooting at you. And you got to shoot back. And literally, it's World War I. You don't even know what you're shooting at sometimes. You're just shooting back to shoot back, right? I mean, the smart ones actually figure out what they're shooting at as opposed to just firing shit in the air and having it ricochet back on them. But the bottom line is I get this whole us versus them mentality. It's very black and white because it's a zero-sum game. Somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose in a campaign. I believe me, nobody gets this more than me. I was doing campaigns when Morris Katz was a star in his parents' eye. But I will also say this. People with decency and experience walk away from shitty candidates.
Right.
They do. And there's a woman named Genevieve McDonald who worked on Graham Plattner's campaign, who sounded the alarm last year. She was his political candidate. And she walked away and she was maligned by the campaign. I mean, the fact that I am sitting in Pennsylvania right now and I know this woman's name goes to tell you how maligned this woman was.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm not working in Maine politics, and yet I know this random woman's name. Like, think about this. She's not random. I mean, I respect her, but my point is like, this is atypical because she was so maligned. Lindsay Fifield was maligned. I should not know Lindsay Fifield's name, yet I know it because she was so maligned.
Yep.
And the right thing to do is what Genevieve McDonald did, which is she saw problematic issues with her candidate and she walked out. And by the way, and I just made this point, I was on MSNBC a few minutes ago in my black bra and white shirt because I couldn't find a bra that matched. Julie's shirt looks like the one at Walmart. It is not the one at Walmart, Dana. I think I got it at J. Crew, but I'm glad that Walmart also rents it. That's great. Don't shop at Walmart if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
So
bad people.
They're bad people. Very bad people. Do not give the Walton family your money if you can avoid it. Anyway, so so the point is very much the right thing to do. She walked away from a campaign. And imagine if Plattner had won, which he was on track to doing. He would have been a United States senator. She would have made an enemy out of a United States senator. I made an enemy out of a very powerful governor for 8 years. And let me tell you, friends, not fun. Do I regret it? Not for one fucking day, because you have to do the right thing when you see women being mistreated. Yep. She did it. I did it. Lindsay Fifield did it. Other women did it. They went on the record. And the reality is, people didn't believe them because they were so in their partisanship is a hell of a drug. So before these people take over a party for the good of the revolution, but forget who they're fighting for. When you're talking about fighting for women's rights, but you're disregarding women's stories,
right?
You're not fighting for women's rights. When you're talking about fighting for trans rights, but you're disregarding somebody who's going negative on the LGBTQ community, guess what, friends? There's some trans kid right now who's listening to you and knows you're not fighting for them, no matter what you say.
Yeah. When we get to the point where you are so, in love with a candidate that you can't brook for a moment that candidate is a human and could be flawed and might not actually be the right choice.
Imagine.
You get some absolutely insane reactions. And I know we're all on a chat thread together. I know we all saw the video of the person who, trigger warning here. I'm going to use a word. This person was claiming that rape and genocide were not equivalent. And, and they were using both of those words and saying that it was more important for Plattner to win because he believes what's going on in Gaza is genocide and he would stand up to Israel. And therefore we should all accommodate the fact that he had raped a woman. I honestly feel bad for that person that they put that video out there and will have to live with it for the rest of their lives, because I've never heard a more irrational argument in my entire life behind supporting a person. Like trying to draw, I know we all reacted horribly to that. It still has stayed with me after several days because it was so egregiously illogical and insane that it just makes me want to puke thinking about it right now.
Like this whole zero-sum game thing to me is really bizarre. Like, if you are not happy with what's going on in Gaza, surely you can find somebody who's not an alleged rapist,
right,
to advance your cause. Like, there are other people out there. It doesn't need to be this guy. Right. And this whole notion of, if not my guy, then AIPAC is bullshit. I was going very public, and I hate to say this, one of the few people on cable news who was on Graham Plattner from day one. And I was being accused of carrying AIPAC's water, and I was being accused of carrying Chuck Schumer's water, and so on and so forth. And let me say again, for the 20,000th time, nobody has more cause to hate AIPAC than I do. I think AIPAC is a toxin on this world. Their PAC, the United Democracy Project, is like, my head wants to explode when I think about them. So believe me, I cannot stand AIPAC. I think they should disband. Right. Period. I live in New York.
Right here who all hate AIPAC.
Yep. If I lived in New York, I do live in New York. If Chuck Schumer had a primary and it wasn't one of these wackadoodles, but somebody halfway rational, I would vote for that person against Chuck Schumer, because I think Chuck Schumer's got to go. So I'm not carrying AIPAC's water, and I'm not carrying Chuck Schumer's water. I'm carrying water for people who believe that you don't use the word, and trigger warning again, retarded, when talking about mentally ill people or people who have disabilities. I don't believe that you say you should vote for somebody who says Black people are bad tippers. I used to be a waitress, and I've never found that to be true. But what world are you living in where you're categorizing a whole group of people that way?
Right.
I'm not going to vote for somebody who disbelieves women or says they had it coming because they had a drink and then they got raped. Because the only person who had too many drinks and then raped somebody was Graham Plattner.
Yep.
And allegedly. So I say all of this to say that it's not a zero-sum game. I have worked in the state of Maine. There are lovely people up there. Surely, of the, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people who live up in Maine who are Democrats, surely there could be somebody else besides Graham Plattner who could have been the nominee. And if you don't like Janet Mills, then find somebody else.
Yeah. And they basically plucked this guy out of obscurity.
Knocked on his door.
Literally. Because they saw a commercial that he made for his oyster business.
Right.
Which also is like kind of not in question about like this seriousness of that business, but like whatever. They were like, "Oh yeah, this guy seems great." And
Yeah.
they went and they paid $6,000 to an Oppo research firm. $6,000, just so everybody knows. $6,000. They're like a whole chunk of money. It really wasn't that much money in like
Yes,
the business of
a
Oppo.
real book is tens of thousands. Just so
Yes. In like the real world of Oppo, $6,000 ain't nothing, y'all.
yeah.
So it was really a not even surface level, we've said this before, it needs to be a colonoscopy when you're like vetting yourself, vetting others, like you have to go deep, 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 dark, 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 and find the things. And even if those things do exist and you still want to run, you better be ready. And none of these people that were any part of his campaign or advisors, nobody was ready for anything. And the thing is that they knew all of this existed. They knew, they didn't care, because for the same reason Lawrence is talking about that person who said, well, rape and genocide and blah, 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 blah. But they think for the same reason. It doesn't matter, if these things exist, because our guy has to win. And that's more important, because I'm like, I'm sure maybe
But
partially because of Gaza, who knows with these people anymore, and also just for their own power. Like they're power hungry. They're Gollum in the little river with the ring.
it's about power, because you know what? Rape is not as important as genocide until it's you who gets raped.
Correct.
Or it's your wife, or it's your daughter, or it's your sister, or it's your friend, right? Like,
and I hate to break it to people, but rape is used as a weapon of war as well.
Yep.
And that is something
look what happened on October 7th.
Yep.
Thank you.
Look what happened on October 7th.
Yep.
These women got raped
Mhm.
brutally. Now, I know there's a lot of people in the Bernie world who don't believe that happened.
Oh my God.
But it's very documented, including by the United Nations, which everybody holds up as this arbiter of, what's right and what's wrong. I'm just going to say
the United Nations that put Iran at the head of their human rights council.
If you're going to sit here and debate whether the tattoo on your candidate's chest is really a Nazi tattoo and he knew that it was or it wasn't, guess what you're not debating? Universal health care. Guess what you're not debating? A living wage. Guess what you're not debating? Tax rates for the wealthy. All the things that you claim to want to accomplish. You're not doing that because you're too busy debating, well, it looks sort of like a Totenkopf tattoo, but did he really know the Totenkopf? Like,
yeah.
Remember that Seinfeld episode? Did you guys watch Seinfeld?
Oh, of course.
Okay. Remember that Seinfeld episode where Tim Whatley converts to Judaism? And Jerry gets very upset because now Tim Whatley, the dentist, starts telling Jewish jokes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're awful, and they're awful Jewish jokes. But Tim Whatley's like, Jerry, I can tell these jokes. Our people have survived for 2,000 years because of these kind of jokes. And Jerry's like 5,000 years, like 5,000 years. Tim Whatley's been a Jew for like 5 seconds, right? But he can now tell like bad Jewish jokes. So Jerry ends up going, I forgot how he ends up going to confession with a priest, but he ends up in the confessional with a priest to talk to this priest about the fact that he thinks Tim Whatley converted to Judaism for the jokes. And the priest goes, and this offends you as a Jew? And Jerry Seinfeld goes, no, it offends me as a comedian. And that's how I feel. And that's how I feel about this. This doesn't offend me as a Jew. This offends me as a political operative. You're sitting here talking about whether the Totenkopf tattoo is really Totenkopf tattoo and whether he knew it was a tattoo. It offends me as a political operative that this is what you're spending your time talking about. If you're sitting here defending yourself from rape allegations and sexual misconduct allegations, it offends me not as a woman who's dedicated the last 10 years to this cause. It offends me as a political operative that this is what you're spending your time talking about, as opposed to things that could defeat Susan Collins. And even when the anti-dentite episode.
Oh, the anti-dentite. Oh my God.
Anti-dentite episode. Yes. Right. You're an anti-dentite. You think they should have their own You think they should have their own schools. They do have their own schools. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But
Kramer.
Anyways. So
Jesus.
You know what you are? You're an anti-dentite.
He's an anti-dentite.
He's an anti-dentite. So anyway, the point is that it's like so similar, and you're not talking about the things that matter, and you're not talking about things that could defeat Susan Collins. And you know how I know that's true? Because in Graham Plattner's 11-minute self-pitying screed,
God.
Oh,
and
God.
also in his wackadoodle withdrawal letter yesterday, which thank you for delivering that at the very last minute on a Friday, what he did not do for 1 minute is mention Susan Collins.
Right.
Or Trump. He didn't say anything. No
Trump.
one's happier about all of this, by the way, than Susan Collins. Let's see, Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Russia, because we're not talking about them and we're not looking at all of the atrocities and war crimes that they're committing, not only to other countries, but to their own people, and the oligarchs, because we're fighting amongst ourselves and not, pointing the arrow at them.
Yeah.
And the other piece of this too, and I hope you guys don't mind if I really just want to play this because I'm feeling in a very contenty mood today.
What kind of mood?
A contenty?
Contenty.
Oh, it sounded like I said something else.
Yeah, it said something else. Yeah.
Yep, no, I would never say that word on air or in front of
Actually, that's not what I thought you said. I thought you said Kanti mood, like Immanuel Kant, the philosopher.
Oh, no. Would I be talking about a philosopher?
No.
I thought you said Condé, like Condé Nast. So
no, I think it's a Kanti mood, like Immanuel Kant. And I was like, I'm having a conversation about Immanuel Kant
mood, which I was like, no, I'm not feeling that way today.
You're feeling very philosophical. Can I surface something from the chat? Rose says, it offends me as somebody wanting to win, right? And that's what that enrages me. Graham Plattner, how fucking dare you, knowing that Maine is literally the key to unlocking, retaking control of the Senate. How fucking dare you waste all of our time with your bullshit? Morris
Katz, right? The genius, right, of this, and I say genius in air quotes if you're listening and not watching. Another reason why he wanted Graham Plattner, and this is just LOL.
Yeah.
He wanted to squash AOC's chances or plans for running for president in 2028 because Graham Plattner.
Fuck that shit.
You guys, this kid is a Nepo baby from New York City. Like, he went to Beacon High School. Like, I know that kid.
Right.
Know that kid. I don't know him personally, but I mean, I know that. I mean, believe me, you guys, as a mom of a New York City kid, I know that kid. And that kid.
And that kid should have gone to theater school at NYU.
Yeah.
But he probably couldn't get in because NYU is a really good school.
Yeah. I mean, that kid has never had a moment of struggle in his life. And as somebody who lives in New York City in that particular orbit and is raising a kid in that particular orbit, let me tell you something. These kids have no clue.
None.
Zero. And I put my son in the same category. Zero about how the real world works. They have never left their little privileged cocoon in the most privileged enclave in the most wealthy town in the nation. Like, I will tell you, and I will take this upon myself. I took my son when he was about 4 years old to the botanical garden. There's a train show they do every Christmas. It's actually very nice. If you're ever in New York over Christmas, go to the New York Botanical Gardens because they have a great little train show, especially for kids. And we're in the Botanical Garden happens to be in the Bronx, and it is they of course make you exit through the gift shop, of course. So of course my kid's 4 years old. He's like, can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? And I was like, no. He's like, I want this. And I was like, you know what? Get in the fucking car. We get in the car and I'm like, I'm going to take you to where I grew up. I want you to see where I grew up, and I want you to understand how hard I work for my money so that you have the privilege of going to these schools and these things, right? So I take him to Parkchester in the Bronx where I grew up, and it is a rough place. And we are, I'm in my car and I'm crawling past my old building, and it looks like we're like literally trying to score drugs because I'm like crawling very slowly past this very sketchy.
With your 4-year-old in the car.
With my 4-year-old in the back seat. Like I'm damn bad if I have to score drugs with a 4-year-old in the back of the seat of the car, right? Like, the addiction's real bad. And I was like, this is where I grew up. And he starts crying and he goes, I want to go back to New York. And I go, sweetheart, this is New York.
Yeah,
this is New York. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. And friends, that is Morris Katz.
Yep.
That is Morris Katz.
who thinks that he can swoop into other parts of the country.
Thinks he can swoop up to Maine. I did a campaign in Maine. Let me tell you something. I've done campaigns a lot of places. Maine, these people are, you're not from around here.
Right.
Even if you've lived here for the last 50 years, you're not from around here. Like it means a lot that this guy, Jackson, whoever Jackson, Troy, whatever his name is, that he's a fifth generation lobsterman, because if he had arrived in Maine when he was a year old, he wouldn't be from around here.
Right.
Like, and the fact that these people who are not from around here are coming and telling the people of Maine what to do is insane. You could do that in New Jersey. You can do that in, New York. You could do that in New York. Yeah. You could do that in California. You could do that in Illinois. Can't do that in Maine. That place they are insular as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And can I just say that we dodged a bullet with Graham Plattner and the whole presidency thing, because I watched his interview where he was kind of saying like, oh, there are no other shoes to drop. Like I've learned my lesson. He's an excellent campaigner. Like I had one of those like Stephen King visions of like the guy running for president in the future. And I was like, oh my God, he's gonna go all the way, because
he's a good actor.
Right. He's a great actor.
He's like Sarah. I mean, he's not like Sarah Palin, but like Sarah Palin was very charismatic, but she couldn't answer questions and she wasn't prepared. And she was, in way over her head until they realized, right, that my former employer decided, let's run Sarah Palin. Oh my God. Anyways, they were like, let's give her a script. We'll just give her a script and put her out in front of a crowd. And she was very good at that.
Right.
And that was also, I think we could all say, the beginning of all of this. Like
Absolutely.
she kind of, threw the match on the gasoline for these crazies. And here's the other thing too. And there's two things I want to say. Number one, I understand and I share the feeling that like the people who have been in power too long are taking advantage of their power in a way that they think that those seats and those jobs belong to them, and they don't. They work for us. They work for us. And I think a lot of these people forget this, and it creates a lot of anger, especially when people are struggling. However, as Tom Nichols says, that there is a death of expertise in this country. It is okay to know what you're doing. In fact, I welcome it. Right. Please know what you're doing. It's not cool to not know stuff. And, I would like to think that we are going to elect people that are, not inexperienced at like other things, because obviously doctors and all kinds of people should be able to run for office, but like having no life experience or having no struggle or no, working hard or working towards anything in your life, like that it's not even like a professional issue. It's also a character issue. Like, I mean, your character means so much to how you present yourself in your job. And the other piece of this is how much women are underestimated every single goddamn time. We are underestimated over and over. And I'm like, not to quote Taylor Swift, but I'm gonna, and we'll get to that in a second. But Taylor Swift, she has a song like, who's afraid of little old me? You should be. You should be. And I, again, I'm a small person and I'm very nice and I cry and I, have lots of feelings, but do not ever underestimate, for all different kinds of reasons. Julie, same thing, maybe not as much crying, but like, small and mighty. And I was reminded of this great scene in the first episode of The Morning Show, where Jennifer Aniston is kind of like the, I guess, comparatively Katie Couric character. And she's sitting at this table with all of these men and all of these executives, and they think that they can just bat her around. And she's like, oh, you don't get it, do you? And this is one of the other things I wanted to play this morning. I was trying to decide between Newsroom and this, but I was like, you know what? F it. We're going to watch this anyways, because
Immanuel Kant.
It's a content-y kind of morning.
It's an Immanuel Kant-y kind of morning.
I'm having a contenty.
No.
Contenty. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Contenty morning. Anyways, here's the clip. It's just great. And ladies, put this into your veins as you go out into the world today.
I don't feel I need to remind you that this network has been very good to you over the years. We have always shown you personal and professional respect. I never anticipated we would be met with such utter disrespect and insubordination in return. This network has every right to terminate you immediately. You have placed us in an impossible situation. You have embarrassed yourself. You have done something unforgivably selfish. And for what? To what end? I find myself wondering if we can even trust you with the privilege of being on air for the election.
Are you done?
I'm sorry?
The part you guys never seem to realize is that you don't have the power anymore. The news division is held up by my show. And the only thing keeping us afloat is me. Because guess what? America loves me. And therefore, I own America. It seems pretty fucking simple, but so easy for you guys to forget.
Are you actually trying to justify your actions?
I'm not listening. I don't need to justify anything. You all are so convinced that you are the rightful owner of all of the power that it doesn't even occur to you that someone else could be in the driver's seat. And so we have to just gingerly step around your male egos in order to not burst this precious little bubble. Well, surprise! I'm bursting it. We are doing this my way. Because frankly, I've let you bozos handle this long enough. Not the apology you were expecting?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes.
Who's
That
afraid
is
of
how it
little
is
old
done.
me? That's right. That's right. Who's afraid of little old me? You should be. You should be. In the wise words of Taylor Swift, who is Julie's favorite person.
Speaking of Taylor Swift, I ran this theory past Michelle because, as you know, I still can't get over this wedding for all the reasons we're going to talk about in a minute. My theory as to why Taylor Swift, first of all, they spent $30 million on this wedding.
Yeah. I think it was 16 just alone, like on the menu itself. Yeah.
The complete and utter tone deafness of that in a moment that we're living in right now is astounding to me. But okay. Taylor Swift has always been a bit self-centered, so she obviously wanted to be princess for a day, and okay. I will pause it by saying, as you know, Michelle, I hate weddings, so I fully acknowledge that many people want to be princess for a day. I was so uncomfortable being the focus of attention at my wedding that I invited a really big celebrity to my wedding so that he would be the big focus of attention. And Michelle knows who he is. Mm-hmm. Believe me,
I'm sure like there was a lot of people who were like, "Oh my God, Julie, step aside."
We only had about 30 people at our wedding, and we had to call every single one of my husband's brothers in particular individually and say to them, "Hey, we're inviting this so-and-so person to our wedding. He really does not like attention. So please don't make a big deal out of him." And I think hopefully they all behaved well, but anyway, he's a very dear friend, but I was very happy to have somebody there who was people were more looking at than me in my own wedding. So I am 100%. And if by any chance he and his wife are watching, thank you for coming to our wedding because I love you. You're the absolute best. And my husband and I are so we're so enamored with the two of them. We love them. But anyway, the point is that so I know that I'm not the right person to talk about weddings and how much I can't stand the attention. However, I loathe the fact that Taylor Swift, in the midst of people struggling, had this incredibly huge wedding. And then if you notice, no photographs, no nothing, no comment. She will basically cut anybody who even mentions and breathes a word of this wedding. And I was like, okay, well, now the wedding's over. Why can't people just talk about it? And then of course I realized, because this is all content to her.
Oh,
She's
for
gonna
sure.
she's gonna make this money back by releasing Taylor Swift The Wedding. And all these little girls are gonna go to the movies and they're gonna watch Taylor Swift The Wedding. And she's gonna monetize the shit out of this wedding. And it's going to be content, because Taylor Swift cannot do anything that is not about, Taylor Swift the brand.
I
And
guarantee you, my prediction here: next month's Vogue, right, or something, Glamour, or whatever, Vanity Fair, some
I don't think so.
magazine
I don't
is
think
going
so.
to have the Dior dress that
I don't
Taylor
think so.
Swift wore.
I don't think so, because that's she doesn't own Vogue and she doesn't own Condé Nast. I don't think that she's going to do that at all. I think Lauren Bezos Sanchez, whatever the fuck her name is, she wanted that because she wants to be accepted in this like high fashion society, Anna Wintour world, right? Taylor Swift's too big for that. I don't think Taylor Swift's going to give Anna Wintour or anybody else the dress.
Oh my
I
God,
think
you're right.
Gonna,
It's going to be her own book.
She's going to release a movie. And all of these little 14, 15-year-old girls are going to rush to the movie theater and pony up $30 or whatever it costs to go see a movie these days, so that they can watch this magical princess movie, and that for the rest of their lives, there's going to be generations of girls who are going to be like, the same way that people watch the royal wedding on TV, and generations of girls were like, I want to be Princess Diana. Look at this beautiful wedding, right? Look at this beautiful dress. I hated Princess Diana's dress, but that's a whole different story.
Diana? I mean, it was very 80s, right? I mean,
yeah, but even back then I was like, because I was exactly the age where I never liked it. Yeah. I like Kate Middleton's dress. I don't like that.
Oh my God. I died.
Yeah.
Because Kate's got class.
I mean, amazing. Yeah.
But with Taylor Swift, it's going to be the same thing. This generation of girls are going to be,
right, brainwashed into wanting this exact thing.
Yes, Kat, it's going to be worse than Luke and Laura's marriage. And probably last a little less long than Luke and Laura's marriage too.
I will say, because I am a contrarian at heart sometimes, and I love Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Here's my, I think Taylor Swift, of all people in the world, making her money through her art, deserved to have a moment of, just let me be happy with the man that I actually fell in love with. I know you hate this, Julie, but I will. I think Taylor has shared her heart with us for a very long time, and she finally found the dude. We may not like who he is, but she found her dude, and she was like, yeah, is the world burning? Sure, but I get to have my day, just like other people have had their day.
Yeah, both things can be true.
Right.
Both things can be true. However, you don't invite like Brad Pitt. Like, she invited 1,000 people, and I guarantee you these are not 1,000 close friends. And I get it. Some people have really huge weddings and they have to invite their parents' friends, and they're like, oh my God, I mean, know half the people at this wedding. Like my dad had to invite his business partner and his wife and blah, blah, blah. And I get all of that. But nobody's forcing her to invite like randos, like the Good Morning America.
Well, and the director of ICE or whoever it was, right? Like the dude who's profiting off of the ICE jail contract.
There was like a nice person. He
really?
was like Meredith, what's her face? I can't remember her last name, on Instagram did a whole thing on this. And people were like, no, he wasn't there. And then she came back and she was like, yes, he was. And it's like some guy who's like an investor or like part financial something or other with some of these ICE facilities. And, I know other people were upset because, Jared Kushner's brother was there.
Well, that's not, I mean.
Right. That's like less nefarious because he's married to Carly Kloss, who's actually like friends with her. So like I understood. And also like, not to say that he's, a good person. I don't really know much about him, but like, he's like part owner of like A24. Like, I mean, I don't know if people know that. Yeah. So that one makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I don't blame her for inviting Josh Kushner because, as you said, he's married to Carly Kloss.
Yeah, to Carly Kloss,
who's a big Democrat, by the way. But what I do have a problem with is like inviting George Stephanopoulos. Like, are you hanging out with George Stephanopoulos? Like, really? Like, are you and George Stephanopoulos like besties? And Robin Roberts and all these other people.
Yeah, and Michael Strahan.
Michael Strahan,
the man I've ever met in my life.
Like, it's so random. It's so random. And it's so like, because it's all content. Because I'm guarantee you, these people are all going to be extras in the movie, and she's going to
Probably
have.
had to sign something.
She's
she
going to
also-
have. She's going to have the
she-
biggest celebrity movie out. Like, think about the movie this is going to be. It's going to star the biggest actors in the world, and she got them all for free. Like, what does it take to have Brad Pitt star in your movie? A lot. And she got him for free. All of these people, she got them for free. She's going to be profiting off of them. They're not going to be profiting off of her. Watch.
Well, it's very strategic. She does need these connections for when she launches her political career. You know, when the three kids are in their teens, she's going to jump into American politics. You heard it here first.
She's too big for American politics. She has more influence being Taylor Swift than she does as president of the United States.
But what if she could be Taylor Swift and the president of the United States?
It's like Oprah. Oprah never needed to run for anything. Oprah, you know. So I'm telling you, no, she's gonna have her kids. She's gonna pop them out. She's gonna have, songs.
Maybe if she is fortunate enough to be able to bear children. I always want to say that.
Right.
Correct.
That's
yes,
true.
Yes. Sorry, you're absolutely right about that.
Mhm.
Travis is gonna, whatevs. The point is, she's gonna be on the road. He's gonna be doing his thing, whatever. I think he's gonna go into movies or be.
Yeah, he definitely wants to be an actor.
Yeah,
He
and so
definitely- yeah.
So he's going to be on set somewhere. She's going to be touring. The kids are going to come with her with this one, the nanny, and the nannies plural. And God bless. Like, I don't begrudge her all of that. I just think it's a brilliant, brilliant move to invite the biggest actors in the world to your wedding so that you can get them to star in your movie for free.
All right. Here's my questions. How long until they announce that they are pregnant? And what is the boy name and the girl name of the first child? Julie's like, I don't fucking care.
Well, having been a 30-something-year-old woman who struggled with fertility problems and all kinds of things, and even into my 40s, that's why I said, I was like, you know what? If she's lucky enough, and somebody in the comments was like, she'll use a surrogate. Like, that's not even what I'm talking about, guys. Some people's cannot even make embryos. Like it's Jennifer Aniston being one of them. And she's talked openly about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, she did IVF over and over and over and over and over again. Some people can do IVF 15 times and it never works. And that's where I'm just like, you could be the worst MAGA person in the world. You could be Taylor Swift, or I will never ever speculate about anybody's speed at which they are able to have children. And that's just my own personal experience projecting onto that. But yeah.
This is where, as a gay man, there's an entire
No, of course. Yeah.
thing that I don't know about.
Yeah. I mean, and I just, I've had miscarriage. Like, I've been through all of that. I remember when I got married when I was 33, and people, well, thank you. I got married when I was 33, and people were like, well, when are you having a baby? When are you having a baby? And I'd be like, it's like, not because I'm not trying. And it just, it just didn't happen. And, it's something I can talk about now. I think a little bit more. Look, it's not as painful, but it's everybody wants to say this to you, including, people in my family. And it's, Julie had her, son by herself and went through all of that. And, it's difficult. It's difficult. And it's not always easy for people. And I think it's, what it is? It's the great equalizer. And while, yes, some people, some women who are very wealthy and very privileged have the ability to freeze their eggs when they're very young and use those when they're older. And that's, that's a whole other thing. And IVF itself, one cycle costs $30,000. That is how much it costs.
My God.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And so but you can have all the money in the world. You can be Taylor Swift. You could be Jennifer Aniston, and not all that money will get you what you want when it comes to that. So that's where that's my feeling about all of that. So, and to the women in the chat who have been there as well, I'm seeing comments solidarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for teaching me about that.
Yeah, of course.
I thank you for that, Michelle, and thank you for talking so openly about this, because it is the whole having kids, not having kids, what to do about that, when to do it. The biological clock ticking as you're debating what to do. All of that is really hard. really hard. And it has not helped when, like, I think about Jennifer Aniston, and every time
Oh
she
God.
every time she ate a burger, the tabloids are like, "Oh, look at her, she's
Oh,
pregnant.
she's
She's got a little bit of a stomach," and like going through that.
And then her husband cheated on her and got somebody pregnant. Like, I mean, oh my God, that poor woman. Oh
Yeah. You know, when I was watching that clip where she's like, "You don't get it. I'm America's sweetheart," or whatever she called herself.
Yeah.
She's basically talking about herself. That's Jennifer
Yeah.
Aniston,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And, you know, as you pointed out, I had my son by myself because I was in my late 30s. And I went to the doctor just to see where things were. And he's like, "It's now or never." And I was like, "Whoops," because I'm not married and I'm not even dating anybody at the moment. And you know, I had to do it by myself, and I had to go through several rounds of IVF to do it by myself. As Michelle pointed out, it's really expensive and it's really hard. And I remember giving myself the shots that you have to give to stimulate follicles and being so resentful that I did not have a husband who could help me do that.
Yep.
And I remember being pregnant because I mercifully got pregnant and going through pregnancy by myself. And at the same time that was happening, my yoga teacher was dating Alec Baldwin, whom she ultimately married. And I'm sitting here being like, and he was at the height of like his Jack Donaghy phase. So I was madly in love with Jack Donaghy, not Alec Baldwin, but Jack Donaghy. And I just remember being
We all
pregnant.
had a crush on Jack Donaghy.
I know. It's like, Liz, it's Tuesday. Sorry, keep going.
Why are you wearing a tuxedo? It's after 6 p.m. What am I, a farmer?
The show's so good.
No, so good. So that was at the height of that show, and I just remember looking at Hilaria. And
Hilaria.
Hilaria.
What is the word? Cucumber? Just so everybody knows.
I mean, by the way, friends, I knew her.
Pretended to be Spanish.
I knew her before she started dating Alec Baldwin. That accent existed before she dated Alec Baldwin. She was always pretending to be Spanish. And
She's from Connecticut, and her
she's from Boston. She's from Beacon Hill.
Whatever.
She's from Boston, Massachusetts.
I can't.
Oh my! I didn't know that.
What?
Oh my God. You don't know that?
Right.
No.
Oh yeah, she's from Beacon Hill. Her name is Hillary Thomas.
Yeah. And there's this, so she's like, you know, makes food, and her whole thing was like cooking and health or whatever. So she goes, I think it was the Today Show, right? And she was like making some like gazpacho or something, and they're like, and she's like, yes, and then you cut the what's the word for cucumber? Like she couldn't find the word.
What's the word in English? Cucumber.
Cucumber. I'm like,
guys,
you're from Massachusetts, and
she's from Boston, Massachusetts. She's not just from Boston; she's from Beacon Hill, Massachusetts.
Her family vacationed in Spain, and that's literally it. And I said to Julie recently about this. I was like, you know, it's like Hillary Thomas, right? Thomas. It's like the plot of a bad rom-com where, like, you know, this poor girl and like the rich man, and like she pretends to be like, I don't know, something
Spanish to be exotic, to catch his
like,
attention, and then she can't stop.
right? And then she has to like carry the thing on into life. And like all of her kids have little Spanish names. I'm like, oh.
Anyway, the point is,
It's giving Rachel Dolezal, to be perfectly honest.
It is.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. You're Hillary Thomas from Boston. Your name is Hilaria. Cucumber. So
anyways.
Mike McBaron Trump, my suitcase.
My suitcase. Do you like my suitcase?
My suitcase. Anyway, I'm sitting there pregnant by myself, totally pissed off and resentful. The fact that my yoga teacher is dating Jack Donaghy. So that's what I was going through when I was pregnant. So the point is, it sucks.
Yeah.
And also, I was reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh my God.
Which, by the way, is unreadable,
Truly.
but everybody else is reading it. And so I was reading it at the time. And did you guys read 50 Shades of Grey or see the movie?
I
did
started
not.
reading it because one of my friends was like, oh, you have to read it. And I'm thinking like, what's this movie about? And all of a sudden it's like, and then he changed her. And I'm like, what am I reading?
Right. So I'm reading
This.
50 Shades of Grey and I'm pregnant. And I'm like,
Oh, girl.
this bitch goes for a job interview and ends up marrying some billionaire. And I'm sitting here pregnant by myself. Like there's so much self-pity. I can't even tell you. So the reason I say this is like, you don't know what people are going through. Like
Yeah.
you just don't know what people are going
Michelle Obama wrote about it in her book.
through. Yeah.
When, her husband was off being a politician, she had to sit at home and do IVF for both her girls by herself.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a very lonely thing. It can be, if you have to do any part of it by yourself. I mean, listen, your husband, you could have a husband and he could be home and he's sitting next to you and you still feel alone doing that because you're like, I'm shooting things into my body and you are just sitting there watching the game. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
And
like,
by the way, the crazy hormones that you're shooting into your body
girl,
make you, I warned Michelle. I was like, listen to me. I'm like, write down right now that you are going to be crazy. And so that when you're crazy, you can look at the piece of paper and say, it is the hormones, it is not me.
yeah. It's
You know,
not me. It's the hormones. It's not me. I just
Crazy.
cried a lot. It was a lot of crying, but like,
Yeah, me too.
yeah,
Years
that's
ago,
all.
I had friends who were trying very hard to have kids, and they
Mhm.
started doing IVF, or I think they start. Anyway, the gist of the story
IUI
is
and then there's IVF, and usually people do it in that order, if that helps what you're trying to
Yeah.
remember.
all I know about the situation was, they were convinced it was her body that was the problem, and they finally got to the point where everyone was like, no, dude, just go in and make sure that your swimmers actually work. It turns out it was him.
It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
maybe they didn't get all the way to IVF. I just remember that like they'd spent
Yeah.
money on something,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, we don't need to test my, I'm sure it's not me." And the gist is, it was him.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing too. And like I could go down a whole rabbit hole about this too, but it's like that how all of fertility, right? Whether it be the science behind it, the research of why or why not, is all focused on women's bodies. It's like the only time that anyone cares about women's bodies because
Right.
they're the vessel to bring new life into the world, and then everyone forgets about them.
Yeah.
But
It's where new gays come from.
thank God, honestly.
And thank God for that.
Exactly. I mean, but there's science and there's research coming out now that like a woman's predisposition to have gestational diabetes, morning sickness, and preeclampsia being pregnancy related high blood pressure, can be very, very dangerous. All of these are determined by the sperm and the health, or not health, but like genetics of the father, as it creates the embryo and then is part of the placenta or whatever it is. Like that, all of that research is coming out now. You're like, oh my God, that's why this woman who's had 3 kids with that guy was so sick every single time. So Kate Middleton with her had to be hospitalized by how
Right.
sick she was
Right.
most likely because of her
Prince
husband's
William.
genetics. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not to say we're blaming that because they're like, it's not my fault. Oh, gee, that's not what this is. It's just science. And wow, isn't it cool that we've done research on men's bodies as it pertains to this as well? Kind of like, research about heart attacks and like, men's bodies are always used to research all disease until they were like, wait a second, women's bodies are a little different. Maybe we should look into that, and same goes for this. We have to look into the men's portion of the
Can I just
programming.
propose again in public that we take a couple of election cycles
Yeah.
to let women run the world? And
Good God, yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
honestly, honest to God.
fully ready.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Jill Biden, right, towards the end of Joe Biden's term as president, and they did a thing in the East Wing about this with Maria Shriver. It was the largest investment into women's health in the history of the world. And it took that long for that to happen. Like there's been more research, and this is actually true. There's been more research into male pattern baldness than there has to endometriosis, which takes on average for a woman to be diagnosed with endometriosis 10 years. And it's
Crazy.
like just now I have PCOS, which has been part of my issue with infertility. It's just now coming out. Oh, wait, this is like not just a reproductive thing. It's a metabolic issue. And now they're finding treatments for women to be able to, go about life and have a better quality of life and be healthier. And I'm just like, really? really it took that long. Cool. So,
Yeah.
it's
Eagle in
very
the chat is
frustrating.
saying women and gay men to run the world. No. On behalf of all gay men, I'm saying fully 100%. It should just be women. Gay men are not better than other men.
Well, some of
I
them
mean,
are.
more fabulous and more fun to hang out with. But in terms of like shitty attitudes and behaviors, the
Yeah.
same. We're
Teresa
men.
Teresa said, wasn't y'all's dictator Trump supposed to pay for women's IVF or something? Yes, he said he was the father of fertility and that
Mm-hmm.
everyone was going to have IVF and it was all going to be free. And that is not happened and it's not going to happen. In fact, the far right, the evangelical right, is trying to ban IVF by doing the fetal personhood laws. And they're trying to set up a program where basically the government can give you money to buy other women's embryos that they choose not to use. There's so much going on this subject that is so scary. And like I made an ad about this in 2024 saying that they were going to ban IVF and they're definitely trying and they're getting much, much, much closer. And, there are states like the state of New York, which depending on what kind of employer you have, are required by law to cover up to 3 rounds of IVF because on average, that's how long it takes people to be successful. And that's great. But if your company is self-insured, you can put lifetime caps on that, like on a dollar amount, or they can just deny you or not cover anything at all. And, like for my husband's insurance, like it was a lifetime cap and 1 round wiped it out. Just one. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how people do this. I
had to pay for it out of pocket.
Yeah.
Luckily I was making a little bit more money than I am now. Actually, a lot more money than I am now. But
and Johnny, we love you. As a bald man, I say shave your head, shut up, and give them money to shit that matters. We love you, Johnny.
We love you, Johnny. By the way, speaking of bald men and shaving your head, on behalf of women everywhere, men, if you have a receding hairline, the power of the bald. Okay, Lawrence, the power of the bald man is strong. I can't speak for. Yeah, but I'm saying
I've showed you my weird ridges, though, right? Like they're so weird looking.
Okay. Yeah, but you're not going like this to most people. Like
Julie, I like dating taller men. Like I don't want them to look down. And
let me say this: I cannot speak for what men find attractive about other men. I can say though that having a receding hairline, like that you're trying to cover up, is much less attractive than just pulling a Booker, leaning right into it, shaving the whole thing off. And this is not to say I find Cory Booker attractive. I'm just saying, like, good for Cory Booker for leaning into his baldness. Shave it off and move on with pride. Mm-hmm. And Stanley Tucci, there you go.
Perfect example.
Move on with pride and move on with confidence. And the power of the bald man is strong. And don't worry about it.
My husband's losing his hair, and he makes there's 2 jokes because losing my hair here, I have to go, oh, Michelle, you're making me crazy. I mean, a joke, obviously. And then also he'll catch it like in the security camera, like the back of his head. And he's like, God damn it. And I was like, just shave your head. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it. No, which I understand. He's like, I'm holding out until the last minute and I'm not doing it. So, I get it.
Okay. Listen, you could also go to Turkey and get cheapo hair.
Oh yeah.
Plants. By the way, they work. I know somebody.
That's like a big tourist thing in Turkey. Like
it's huge. I know 2 people who did it, and they look phenomenal. They grow all their hair back, and I don't think it's that expensive.
If you follow Andrewski on TikTok and Instagram, he's like an attorney who lives in St. Louis, and he does political content. He's actually very handsome and funny. He talks openly about having gone to Turkey, and he like did all the videos and took the pictures, and like apparently like these flights back and forth from Turkey to the United States are just full of men with bandages on there.
It's like but it's like women who go to South Korea for skincare.
Right. Yeah.
This girl did not work out for me. But at all, like, I don't know what I spend my money on, but I honestly don't know what they did to me other than give me 2 black eyes.
Didn't they put you under? They put you under for that.
They put me under, so I actually don't know what they did to me, if anything. So I came out of there with 2 black eyes and no changes to my skin. Actually, my skin was fine, but no changes to my face.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I'm so not about gatekeeping. Like, I'm getting the
Same.
finally, Michelle, I'm getting the talks this week. I'm
good.
finally,
See?
Wow.
finally getting
I've been
Botox.
getting Botox for years. I'm
No,
all
no,
about
I
it.
used to have it, but like I'm going
Yeah.
in. I've had it. I can't deal with and also this. I can't deal with this, and I need a bluff. I really do.
I need a bluff. Are you kidding? Like, this whole time I've been sitting here looking at my eyes
Look
like,
who
oh
it
my god.
is! Look who
Speaking of
joined
bluff,
Speaking of Vlad,
Speaking of bluff,
we talked about it with Dana previously.
we talked. I know. Now Dana's here. We're all about the bluff.
oh my God.
Gang's all
I just
here.
woke up. So my eyes are super puffy and it's a perfect time to talk about this.
Oh,
The black, yeah.
My black bra's now falling down from my shirt. Sorry.
Fill me in on what I've missed, you guys.
Oh,
Wow.
you missed us trashing Taylor Swift.
No,
No.
not us. You.
Right.
Not us.
No, I wasn't trashing her. I was predicting what she was going to do, which is to
Okay,
monetize
fair.
at her wedding.
Yeah.
You missed.
Wait, you were sorry. Well, what are you predicting she's going to do? Monetize what?
Well, she had all these rando celebrities at her wedding who, as far as I know, are not friends with her, like Brad Pitt and others, right? Who are like really, really, really big celebrities. And I think that the reason she did that is that she's going to do a movie of her wedding, and she's going to have these people who normally charge $40 million to be in a movie to star in her movie inadvertently for free, which is that she probably made them all sign a release saying that she has the right to record the wedding. She has the right to record the guests of the wedding. And I guarantee you there's going to be Taylor Swift : The Wedding coming soon. And Brad Pitt's going to be in it. And random George Stephanopoulos is going to be in it. and you know, I don't even know who else, you know, she had all these other big celebrities and they're going to be in it. And there you go. And Heidi, I agree with you. Bald men are often super attractive. I have dated my share of bald men, and I agree with you. Bald men could be very, very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I prefer them not bald, but they can be very attractive. And I was thinking about the Taylor Swift wedding thing because I know it incensed you. And I will say the same thing I've said about a lot of things. But first of all, I love Taylor Swift. So we're coming in from other perspectives. But I'm like, in the end, I'm fine that she got married at Madison Square Garden. I know I'm not in New York, but my thought is there was no good way for her to get married other than to
probably
like
had the
go
most-
to City Hall.
Yeah,
Private
she
island,
probably had the
private island.
most privacy there because of the setup than she
Yes.
probably would have had anywhere else. Honestly.
And if she'd had it on a private island and 1,000, you know, billionaire
Helicopters, drones, all kinds of
people would have gone crazy about the environmental impact of all those private planes flying there. There would have been drones coming in. Like, I don't think she is the I want to just get married at City Hall in a, you know, and do nothing about my wedding kind of person. And I don't know. She has the right to celebrate her big day. I can't get. I think people just whatever she does are going to be very, very critical.
Mhm.
You're right. There probably will be a movie about it, or
Yeah.
certainly there's going to be a huge feature in whatever magazine gave her the highest.
I
Funny,
said
you
that
missed
too,
that
Dana.
conversation.
Julie
Yeah.
thinks there's going to be a book or some Taylor branded merch that she can get 100% of the profits of.
It's not going to
Ooh.
be. It's not going to be a magazine. We talked about this because why would she give Anna Wintour or somebody else the freebie of showing off her wedding dress when she could just do a movie and monetize it herself? Anyway,
Yeah.
I forgot we were just about to.
We were talking about
We
Bluff.
were on bluffs.
No. Michelle actually wanted to talk about Madison Square Garden. And the
Oh
problem-
yeah,
the
yeah.
problem-
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, I'm
okay,
catching up. I haven't look at this. I haven't even had a sip of my tea.
I'm going to plug in my computer
Go for it.
while Michelle goes off.
Yeah,
Do it.
so this is a story that came out in Wired.com. I believe, gosh, it might have been earlier this year. All the months sort of mushed together. About a Mr. Jim Dolan, who owns Madison Square Garden, and also
Yes.
here, what's happening over here, Julie? What's going on at your house?
Wow.
I charged my computer and it fell. Sorry about that.
Okay. He owns Madison Square Garden as well as the Sphere in Las Vegas and he also
Oh.
owns Radio City Music Hall.
One of the worst people on earth, by the way.
He is a horrible little man, and he is he lives his life in vengeance, I think. And because of the technology capabilities of surveillance, he has implemented this level of surveillance in his venues. He uses biometric surveillance to scan the faces of everybody who enters any of those venues. And he has used this to ban. There was a guy who made t-shirts that said, like, you know, ban Jim Dolan or whatever it was. He has banned this man from entering because he tried to go to a game or something and they scanned his face and they kicked him out. There was another woman.
That's great. That's awful. And it's kind of hilarious too, of like, oh, okay.
There was another woman. There was a woman who wanted to bring her daughter to see the Radio City Music Hall Christmas show. And she was denied entry into the venue because Jim Dolan was mad at her coworker. It wasn't even her. There's a long list of stories like this. Now there's a new story that's kind of, you know, part 2 of this. And that came out in Wired. Again, guys, if you have a couple bucks to throw at wired.com, they are doing the best reporting of the intersection of tech and politics that I can even think of. Like, they're the best. So here, oops, that's not it. Here it is. Madison Square Garden kept a list of gay celebrities. An MSG database tracked and categorized hundreds.
I lost audio.
Oh no.
This always happens, Dana.
Oh, I hear you, Julie.
Oh, that's weird.
Just not me.
I don't hear Michelle.
Uh-oh. What about me?
And Lawrence, are you talking?
Yeah.
I'll bounce and come right. It's always me too. If anyone knows why
I don't understand.
StreamYard hates me.
Yeah.
I'll bounce and come right back.
Right.
Okay. See you in a second. Okay. So Madison Square Garden kept a list of gay celebrities, and Madison Square Garden database tracked and categorized hundreds of celebrities, famous Knicks superfans, and even some of Taylor Swift's wedding guests. Labels included LGBTQIA, or quote, do not host, end quote, and low to high risk. So Fat Joe, he's a musician, big Knicks fan. He goes all the Fat Joe is a super fan, both of the New York Knicks and their controversial owner, Jim Dolan, the little man that we're talking about. The rapper celebrated with Dolan in Cleveland when the team clinched its first finals appearance in decades. When the Knicks organization came under intense scrutiny over aggressive security measures for Game 3, Fat Joe stuck up for the boss. I don't understand any of this. Shout out to Mr. Dolan, the greatest team owner in the game. So they villainized Mr. Dolan, like almost like a Bruce Wayne. For people who don't know who Bruce Wayne is, that's Batman. And like, this is Gotham City. He said, this man takes care of us. No, he doesn't. Within Dolan's organization, however, some have had a different view of Fat Joe. An internal Madison Square Garden database of VIPs labels Joe a medium risk, one of roughly 400 celebrities given a risk score. Many of those celebs are courtside fixtures at Knicks games. Edie Falco, Mark Ronson, John Turturro, Tracy Morgan, to name a few. That makes the 400-ish entries unusual. The vast majority of the 39,000 plus entries in the so-called talent database, let me take this off, which tracks bold-faced names in business, blah, 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 blah. It goes on to talk about, you know, all of these people and like anything that they've said that maybe he doesn't disagree with or anything that he doesn't like. And again, scanning people's faces and putting them into a database. Now, there's been sources, obviously, who have given this background information to wired.com. And, you know, people behind the scenes are very, 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 very alarmed by this. But if Jim Dolan, a private citizen, is able to do this to us, what do we think that our government is doing to us?
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? And there's a reason that Jim Dolan and Donald Trump are friends. And a part of that's New York. It's old New York. Part of it's politics. But a big part of it also is just like this. this kind of stuff.
That's why I don't like that you did this at MSG. I got to tell you, I was at MSG most recently at a Bruce Springsteen concert, maybe a month ago or maybe 2 months ago, whenever it was that I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew full well entering MSG that they were biometrically scanning my face to make sure that I wasn't one of the people who was banned. And, and you don't give Jim Dolan money unless you're desperate, like you have to go to a Springsteen concert at MSG.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, and I get the hypocrisy that I'm saying. I go to MSG for concerts all the time, even though Jim Dolan owns it. But like Taylor Swift didn't need to do it at MSG.
Mm-hmm.
She just didn't. And I mean, the Dolans are awful, awful, awful people.
Mm-hmm.
And
his son too. Yeah.
Yeah, his son also. And you just don't give those kinds of people money. They're homophobic.
Mm-hmm.
They are racist.
Mm-hmm.
They act on it, and they're vengeful. And if you work for a law firm that has sued Jim Dolan, you are going to be banned from taking your kid to like the Christmas Spectacular, Radio City Music Hall, because you're on the list. Yeah. And it's just evil. Like, I don't know how else to say it. By the way, I don't know how this is not public accommodation. Like, you should be able to enter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I guess he's not discriminating based on anything under Title 9, but still, like, it's just discriminatory to
Well, listen to this. This is the database doesn't provide an explicit explanation for Fat Joe's medium risk. But as Wired has previously documented, Madison Square Garden security keeps close tabs on what is said online about Dolan. I mean, I'm sure we're on a list. And the Garden's management. Some fans have been targeted by Madison Square Garden for criticizing the mogul. Madison Square Garden security even asked local law enforcement to visit a teenager in Colorado after one tweet. Quote, they scared the crap out of some 14-year-old kid in Colorado, end quote. An MSG security staffer texted in a message to be reviewed by Wired. Yeah.
I mean, this is the Panopticon. This is Palantir and Flock cameras and all of that coming together. To your point, Michelle, imagine what the CIA can do, right? If this is commercially available to public citizens, imagine what the government has access to.
Well, I'll tell you what they have access to. So thanks to AI, and you guys know this better than anybody because you both come from a tech background, all of us spent a lot of time writing stuff and saying stuff on Substack and YouTube and elsewhere, right? Like our cable or wherever we all talk. They have it all like that. I mean, they know everything we've ever said, who we've ever criticized, and I don't know if they have a risk rating attached to us because that would be crazy, but like not so crazy based on this.
No, not at all. I mean, we joke about being on lists, but I'm like, that's very likely that we're on multiple lists.
And, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'm reading here. It's going on. This is iconic hip hop producer and DJ Pete Rock, whose Instagram. Oh wait, wrong. Sorry. There's a source that says it's a really, really paranoid, terrible system. It says the talent database provides a window into how MSG internally views its famous, rich, and powerful visitors. It's well-curated celebrity row, and it's hordes of high-profile fans. The comedian and longtime Knicks obsessive Adam Pally, who, by the way, is hilarious, is not to be hosted. Garden lingo for getting free tickets and like any sort of special treatment due to previous comments. Pally has at times been critical of the team's management, and that's just the team. That's not like the Rangers. That's not like a concert. Like, it has nothing to do with anyone, just the management of the basketball team that plays there. And another, this is let's see, after beloved Knicks enforcer Charles Oakley was forcibly escorted from the Garden, Pete Rock says, this DJ Pete Rock says he called for a boycott of Dolan on Twitter. Quote, none of the other owners are as petty as Dolan is, Pete Rock tells Wired in a direct message. Quote, you can't stop me from being a Knicks fan, but your controlling behavior towards people is very unprofessional. I'd go a lot further than saying unprofessional and just, I mean, I don't know how this shit's legal, but it is. It just is.
Ooh, Michelle, you're not going to be allowed into any Knicks shows, any Knicks games anymore.
Well, you know what? I can't really afford tickets to go to any of that shit anyway. So
or Rangers games or anything.
They won't be hosting you, Michelle. They won't be hosting
Yeah,
you.
no. I don't
yeah,
know how.
at the Garden, and like that's crazy. That's crazy.
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 Yeah.
I don't know how it's legal.
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's
they're
just going to
justifying it
become a
under
norm.
First Amendment free association, right?
Or safety. You know, if Julie, I don't know if you've talked about this before I joined, about your story yesterday about Trump derangement syndrome and the work coming to make that an actual psychological diagnosis and how that can be used to, you know, it's not many clicks down to be like, okay, well, if they're going to be, you know, involuntarily committing people for mental health issues, and Trump derangement syndrome is a mental disorder, that math isn't great for any of us. Let me just tell you that.
No.
So
I mean, this is
maybe it makes us a safety risk to enter a stadium because we say unpatriotic, you know, terror. What is that? Sorry, I'm still the counterterrorism initiative, that the executive order that went out a couple months ago. It explicitly stated being anti this administration made you a terrorist if you were saying things like this. So I think that's probably how they can justify us, you know, or anyone like us from entering a stadium.
Right. I mean, they're building the foundation for all of this.
We are Antifa. We don't like fascism, right?
No, we do not.
So is Kira.
Yeah, hey, Kira. I have to say all the credit in the world to our friend Nick Parrow for bringing this to my attention, because I don't want to. I don't want to pretend that I just came up with this on my own. And Yetta Green and others are doing just amazing work.
Great discussion between the two of you, by the way.
Thank you.
People go and check it out.
Yeah, but the two of them and others have been just doing amazing work on this. So I want people to please follow them on Substack if you're on Substack, and look up what they're doing. The point is that the Americans with Disabilities Act put a lot of protections in place. And again, I want to be very clear. The Americans with Disabilities Act was actually a Republican-driven piece of legislation, in that Bob Dole was a big supporter of it, and I believe sponsored it, and it was signed into law by George Bush, the first George Bush, in 1990.
What a different time.
When times were so different.
Times were so different, right?
Not even the same party, but yeah.
Right. And then the Olmstead decision, about a decade later, effectively said that you can't detain people without very good reason, right? Like you should be able to have them get treatment in their homes or their communities. You shouldn't just automatically warehouse them and institutionalize them.
Yeah.
The Justice Department recently put out a memo that basically weakens that protection. They obviously can't completely repudiate the Olmstead decision, because that's a Supreme Court decision, although I guarantee you they will take it to the court and have this Supreme Court overturn it. But they're doing everything possible to make it easier to warehouse people and to detain them, you know, extrajudicially, I would say, under the basis of, oh, well, you know, they're mentally ill, they need help. At the same time, Trump and all his friends, including the official White House spokesperson, keeps talking about Trump derangement syndrome and saying that if you are against Trump, you're mentally ill, you're a lunatic. He has called everybody, Hakeem Jeffries, to, you know, you name it, to the governor of Illinois. I'm just thinking, like, everybody on earth is a lunatic, has Trump derangement syndrome. You know, that's not a joke. That's him trying to say. And I just want to be very clear. It's not, and by the way, at the same time, we have a prison industrial complex that is being given to the GEO group, which gave him a tremendous amount of campaign contributions, and Core Civic, another detention facility conglomerate. So, you know, they're building these warehouses to warehouse somebody. There are not enough undocumented migrants to fill these beds, just so you know.
No. It'll be political dissidents and people with disabilities.
Yeah. And so I just want to, well, you know, the comparisons to Nazi Germany write themselves. But I also want to just talk quickly about what was going on in the Soviet Union and continues to go on in Russia today. The Soviet Union turned psychiatry into a weapon against people who opposed the leadership there. And the logic was very simple, right? Communism was the most advanced or rational system in human history. So why would a rational person oppose it? Right? And so if you opposed it, you were obviously irrational. You were mentally ill. And Soviet psychiatrists developed a diagnosis called sluggish schizophrenia, which existed without any obvious symptoms of schizophrenia, but could manifest itself through, and I quote, reformist delusions, like stubbornness, political dissent. So dissidents could be locked up in psychiatric hospitals without the inconvenience or publicity of a political trial. And I will tell you, and I know this because I'm just from there, but I studied it quite closely in graduate school and undergrad. They would pump you so full of drugs that if you were ever released, which you were almost never released, but if you were one of the rare few people who were released, you were not mentally ill entering, but you certainly had issues coming out because you had been, your brain chemistry was just altered for months and years and however long it was. We did this in this country, just so people know. And I can give you two examples. One is in the 1860s. Yes, a woman named Elizabeth Packard was forced into an Illinois. This is just one out of many examples. Was forced into an Illinois asylum because she disagreed with her husband's religious beliefs. Her husband was a minister, and he declared her insane under the laws of the time. And a sheriff put her on a train to the asylum, where she remained for 3 years. To her credit, she came out and changed the world. She was amazing. Yeah. But you might say, okay, well, that was pre-Civil War, antebellum, right at the start of the Civil War. Okay, fine. But a century later, Black men who were angry during the Civil Rights Movement became diagnosed as schizophrenics during the Civil Rights era, and Black protesters in Michigan's Iona State Hospital diagnosed through psychiatric culture that increasingly treated political anger, hostility, and demands for racial justice as signs of schizophrenia. That was in the 1960s. And
listen, what's the first thing men do when they don't want to hear what a woman has to say? They call
crazy.
It crazy,
crazy,
hysterical,
yes.
and hysteria.
Yeah.
Right, hysteria that women were accused of having. I mean, I can't remember her name. She talks about mothers in the workplace, and I can't remember her name right now. But like, she did that very famous graduation speech talking about bicycle face and how they diagnosed all these women with bicycle face because women were riding bikes everywhere, and it was the first sort of mechanism of women having freedom. And so they had to like put something on it in order to make women stay home and like not. And it like, and I texted
What
Julie
was
about this
bicycle face? I'm not quite following that.
Probably just a little wind blown and like
Yeah,
rosy
like,
cheeks from the exercise.
You're right. You're smiling too much, or there's wind in your face, or whatever it is. And so they would diagnose women with bicycle face because they were riding the bike too much. And doctors would be like, you have bicycle face. And they're like, what? Because they didn't want women leaving the home and having the freedom to go places. I mean,
and they were telling them bicycle face was dangerous. Like, oh, this means you're good.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is, listen, the women's suffrage movement began with women on bicycles meeting up in central and western New York. You know what I mean? So when I saw Julie's great Substack on this, and please go, if people go read this, the first thing that came to my mind was RFK Jr. saying not that long ago that he wants to put people with anxiety or depression or really like, or autism
onto organic farms.
Onto organic farms. Now, this man who looks like a boiled catcher's mitt is going to tell everybody else that you're not
eats
good
dead bear cubs off the side of the road.
Yeah. Correct. And I saw somebody in the comments saying that this government is run by eugenicists, and that is absolutely correct. The anti-vaxxing movement, all of this, all of that is eugenics. I mean, it is fundamental. And another thing that I texted Julie about, and I won't go too into this, but like, if you look at the history of Hitler and Nazi Germany, it was like, a few decades after a major pandemic. And that pandemic, that flu that people died from, disabled a lot of people. And when that happened, people with disabilities, in addition to others, became a drain on society. This became part of the talking point of Nazis, again, eugenicists, talking about that. And I went because I was so obsessed with it at the time, because I wanted to see how COVID and Trump voters, how that was affecting people. And if you go back and you look at the pockets of voters and supporters for Nazi Germany in certain parts of the country, The highest rates of death and disability and infection with the 1918 flu was the largest places where there was support for Hitler. And I've always thought that that was very, very interesting.
Mm.
And, and how that was weaponized, by propagandists by saying that these people with disabilities, they're to blame, especially when there was an economic downturn and there was a depression.
Well, you guys, I don't
Like,
want to get depressing here, but
But
but between 2006 and 2010, okay, in the last 20 years, California prisons authorized 150 forced sterilizations of female inmates. They paid
Jesus.
doctors almost 150,000 each to perform tubal ligations that were done under coercion. And we have laws on the books of eugenical sterilization in the United States that exist, that have not been repealed really in most states. And that includes probably where you live. And I want to just be very clear. In 1927, a woman named Carrie Buck, who was a poor white woman, was the first person to be sterilized in Virginia under their eugenics law. Her mother had been involuntarily institutionalized for being, quote, feeble-minded and promiscuous. So basically, she was assumed, Carrie Buck, to have inherited these traits, and she was sterilized after giving birth. And that Supreme Court, Buck versus Bell, led to the sterilization of 65,000 Americans with mental illness or developmental disabilities from the 1920s to the 1970s.
Oh my God.
And Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, who's held up as this great justice, wrote in reference to Carrie Buck, 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. And that court ruling still stands today.
And this is why during COVID, I got so sick and tired, and it still enrages me. People are like, oh, well, they died. Oh, well, they have something though. Like, that's why they died. And somehow that always was, it made it okay that those people died from COVID. It was okay because they had a disability or they had a comorbidity. I'm like, it doesn't matter. That's a human being. And it doesn't matter what they have or what disability or comorbidity they have. They didn't deserve to die. And it was that kind of like passive language and attitude about the pandemic that to this day I will never get over. And there's been so many, at least for me, so many inflection points on like my loss of faith in humanity. 2016 was one of them. 2020 was the other. And watching so many people not give a shit about people with disabilities or people with comorbidities. And I think about, I have an old friend, my friend Maysoon Zayed. She's a Palestinian woman from New Jersey who has palsy. And I interviewed her about this, and she was like, they can still sterilize people with disabilities. Like, it's legal, like in a lot of places. And she was like, it happens all the time.
They can sterilize.
And this is tying together, Julie, I read your article. We had Naida Green on the show the other day. And a couple days ago, I read an article about Rosie Kennedy, right?
Rosemary, yeah.
Rosemary Kennedy, who's, Joe Kennedy, speaking of Nazis, had her lobotomized without anybody's knowledge. Her mother, nobody. He just shipped her off and had her lobotomized. And, I had another one of those flashes of like, oh my God, this is what they're going to do. They're going to, declare Trump derangement syndrome and, ship us off to camps or the organic farms or whatever. And if you put up too much of a fuss, you're going to get lobotomized, right? Like, or pumped full of drugs.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just not. And a lot of it, like, you're being hysterical. Well, that's another thing. But like, it's just not out of the realm of possibility, given the source of these statements and these plans. And you have to look at the people. Listen, Donald Trump said this, that Stephen Miller had said that. He quoted Stephen Miller and said, if it was up to Stephen, there'd be 100 million people in this country and they'd all be white. They'd all be white and, whatever else. That is the goal here. And that's why they don't care if we die from things and if we're sick or if we're getting explosive diarrhea because we ate lettuce. That's a whole nother thing
Right.
that's happening.
Right.
But
Oh my
like for
God.
real. I mean, I don't mean to make light of it, although I probably should because it's Saturday. But like it's these people are sick. They're sick, and the irony also is that they're all very problematic people in terms of mental health and other things. I mean, Donald Trump, as we watch him deteriorate in front of us
Right.
from a myriad of health issues, we're watching this man die before our eyes, but all he does is say how great he is and how healthy he is and how everybody else is the one with the problem. It's just it's wild. It's as if we lived in the Islamic Republic of Japan.
I was just thinking of that story as you were talking of like, wonder if anyone mentioned that gaffe would have been everywhere if that were Biden.
Oh God, if it
That
were
would have
Biden
been
or
2 weeks of a news cycle.
There'd be a
Even
CNN anchor
more.
writing books about it right now.
right.
Yeah, and it barely got a mention, at least compared to everything else, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, where I come from in the Shamanic Republic of Canada, it's just not a big deal.
the Shamanic Republic of
Shamanic
Canada.
I
don't
don't
know if that-
Zoroastrian Republic of Croatia.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
well, as I kept joking to Michelle, I was quite a chore having to eat my egg sandwich from this Japanese 7-Eleven when I was in Japan through my burqa, which I had to wear in the Islamic Republic
Right.
over
Right.
and back in March when I went.
Oh my God.
By the way, guys, to make it a little bit light, I have to say this again because I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. If you are remotely able, get yourself over to Japan. It is like America
If we
without
did stuff.
without the pro. Take all the great stuff about the United States, like take it to 11, and then forget all the quality. I'm talking about quality of life stuff. I'm not talking about anything else. And like it's like this Narnia that exists on Earth that I cannot believe it took me over 50 years to get to. So please,
Oh my God.
we should do
Yeah,
it.
to be fair, racism exists in Japan as well. It's just
It's awful.
Korean people.
Yeah,
No,
but they have really fast trains.
I'm not excusing
Yeah.
Japan whatsoever about their human rights record, which is abysmal. I'm simply talking about genocide, what they did to not just the Koreans, but the Chinese and everybody else during the war. But I'm just saying, like, if you want a nice subway ride and a 7-Eleven,
Some amazing food,
And a really fast train.
and really fast train, and a 7-Eleven
fast
where you
train.
eat gourmet sandwiches, get yourself
What
over.
was the egg salad sandwich? Was it on that really puffy bread, the really thick bread?
You guys, I don't even know what kind of bread it was. It was magical. Like everything about it was magical. You have like this, like you go and get sushi, and like you go into the shittiest sushi place, and you will get the most amazing sushi, and you could go to like a Wagyu steak place and eat meat that just smelled like oh God, it was so good. I just want to go back there just to like have food. It is so good. And the subways.
Johnny has a very good question though. Does Japan have free Slurpee Day on 7-Eleven?
What a
Right.
great
Today would be the day to find out.
Today would be the day to find out. If anybody happens to be in Japan today, please go to 7-Eleven and let us know. But interestingly, they rated 11.7, so that's a good question.
I was just gonna say, if we were in the UK, would it be on November 7th?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It would have to
I'm
be.
Googling right now, does Japan have free Slurpee Day on 7-Eleven?
No, it would have to. You're right. If you were in the UK or anywhere else outside of the United States, it would be
November 7th.
November 7th. It would be
Oh God, which isn't great weather for a Slurpee. If we're being honest
honestly,
here.
right?
It's not ideal. And one of the other things that I wanted to talk about when we're talking about politicians with failing health, because a lot of people have mentioned this in the comments, is Senator Mitch McConnell, who was there was a 911 call on Donald Trump's birthday. There was a 911 call that Mitch McConnell was found in his house unresponsive. It is now July 11th, and now there's this fun thing that all the Republicans started doing. I called Mitch McConnell. I talked to him
20
for 20
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah.
20 minutes, which became a joke. And Tom Massey did one that was honestly.
Oh my God. This was so funny.
I should find it. But
I'll find it
also,
while you're talking.
We found out.
Wait, what did Tom Massey do?
He tweeted that I spoke to Mitch McConnell for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was he was dragging Mitch McConnell.
Yeah. I spoke to McConnell for about 20 minutes this morning. He said Well, first, Scott Jennings wrote it first, your friend Scott Jennings. He said, I spoke to my old friend Mitch McConnell this morning, the senior senator from Kentucky. He's still recovering in the hospital. We talked for just shy of 20 minutes about Iran, Ukraine, the unfolding situation in Maine. I don't know if he meant for all of that to rhyme, but my visit to the TR Presidential Library and even a little bit of Senate history. I told him we want to see him back at work as soon as possible.
Let me just say this. If Mitch McConnell has been brain dead all this time, like John Thune and John Barrasso also said they spoke to him for about 20 minutes. I guess 20 minutes, like Mitch McConnell sets an alarm and in 20 minutes he hangs up. But like you kind of expect it out of Thune and Schumer and Barrasso because they're, politicians and they lie.
Right.
But Scott Jennings said this to, I believe, Casey Hunt. And then he said it again to Jake Tapper the next day.
Yeah.
And I think on Thursday. And I will say, and CNN is now distancing itself from his comments. I will say this. If he is found to have been, oh my God, Michelle.
This is an everything egg bagel. Continue.
What?
From where?
Well, the place formerly known as Absolute Bagel on the Upper West Side is one of the best bagel places in New York City.
Joe.
And your husband went and got it for you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Does he have a gay brother?
I know, I wish.
Or just a brother, a straight
Just
brother.
I mean,
Right.
Look at this.
Oh my God.
Michelle. I'm so hungry.
I know.
Right.
I'm not going to eat it in front of you. But continue. Continue about Scott Jennings.
Yeah.
Continue.
Because we have to read the Massey quote. I have it here too, and it's very funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to read it?
I can, but you were talking about Scott. I don't want to.
Oh, Scott Jennings.
Scott Jennings and
like CNN should fire Scott Jennings if it is found to have been a lie. I mean, he was found to have lied about many things, and they still keep him.
Mm-hmm.
But like, at which point do you just say this guy lies to our audience one too many times and he's got to go? Like they've got to fire him. And I was basically shadow banned from CNN for 6 months, 7 months because of what I said about Scott Jennings and what I wrote about Scott Jennings and called out CNN for platforming this pathological liar.
Right.
I made my
by the way, bravo.
Thank you. I made my triumphant return there last week with Jake Tapper and said to Jake Tapper, you're platforming a pathological liar. Like I continue to say.
I was so surprised that he had you on considering all the horrible things that we've said about him, but continue.
Yeah, no. And I said it to Jake Tapper because he was like, why were you banned? Why did you think you were banned? I said, because you guys are a disgrace for having Scott Jennings on air.
Yes. Truth to power, Julie.
And a number of people privately at CNN that day who pulled me aside, including people that you would recognize very much until I want to be clear, Jake Tapper was not one of them, but who pulled me aside and said to me privately, this guy, what you wrote about him is absolutely right. We can't believe that he still works here is substantial.
Yeah. Have we talked yet about the fact that if Mitch McConnell doesn't die before August 3rd, that part. There is no requirement to have a special election to fill his seat for the remainder of his term?
Well, I have a Substack coming out on this tomorrow.
Great.
But they screwed themselves. They screwed themselves because they created this mechanism for a special election, which obviously a Republican would have won.
Yep.
But now that there is no special election, there's going to be a vacancy.
Yep.
Which means that they're not just down one, which is okay. They could probably survive it. But he's the chair of the Appropriations Committee. And that is a margin of 1, friends. That is a 15 to 14 margin. So you screwed yourselves, Kentucky idiot Republicans, because you so wanted to take this power away from Andy Beshear to the point.
Owning the libs, always.
You all want to own the libs. You owned yourselves.
Excuse me.
God bless you, you complete and utter morons.
I
do want to read Massey's quote too.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
Should we do that really quick?
I just want to say one thing. So there's a Substack going around that I made the mistake of reading. Please don't read it. It's written by an EMT who describes in detail the results of chest compressions on an 84-year-old body.
Oh, no.
And the survivability rates. And he's very, very graphic about, he's like, I'm just going to tell you what it's like. And there's no chance if this man had a heart event and it is on the 911 call that he was receiving chest compressions, he cannot possibly recover. Like he is not long for this world.
No, he's
so
on life support.
If he's alive, he is on life support. And so, yeah.
But
if you
how
see that
proud
Substack,
would you be?
like
How
if you like horror, you can read it. But otherwise, my God.
How proud would he be, though? He'd be like, wow, they didn't fill my seat on a technicality. And a
Dude,
loophole.
okay,
It's the
can we just
perfect
all
ending for
agree
him.
it is the
Perfect ending
most
for
Mitch
him.
McConnell way to die, right? Like it
Yes.
is the most Mitch McConnell thing that
Oh
he
my
could
God.
possibly do.
We had God as our guest on the Daily Whatever show yesterday,
Oh, nice.
and we talked about this very thing of like,
Did God show his face?
no, he's an
No.
animate. I mean, he showed his very handsome animated face.
Right.
He's hilarious, and he was like, well, how do you guys want to die? I don't usually get into this, but how would you want to die? And so we started talking about Mitch McConnell and that this was the like storybook ending for him.
100%. It's
As a
poetic.
as a memoirist, I'm like, that narrative arc couldn't be more beautiful if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Can I read the Massey quote? I want to make sure we get it in here because it's
Yes.
it's very funny, I thought. So this was his tweet. I spoke to McConnell for about 20 minutes this morning. He said we should end the war in Iran, quit giving aid to Israel, stop spying on Americans without a warrant, and he's really sorry about how my primary turned out.
So good.
So like
good.
that's how I want politicians talking, not just when they're lame ducks because they lost, so they've
Right.
got no more fucks to give. This is just how they should be talking. That's funny.
Right. Also, like, where's TMZ? Like, TMZ has an office in DC now. I was like,
Right.
they've been pretty good about a lot of stuff. I'm
You're
like,
so right.
nobody
TMZ should
getting
know
Well, but
Right,
how would TMZ know what's happening in a hospital, right?
because
Like, you
people leak shit
They'd
to them
sneak
always.
in. They'd sneak in. They'd pay somebody to like go take a
Yeah.
picture. Like
Yeah.
don't know.
they don't. They're not like operating on like regular journalistic,
Which
ethical
hospital is he in?
standards.
Because if he's a Walter Reed, that's very hard to get into. I mean, that's a military.
I don't
hospital.
know. That's a good question.
I
That
don't
is a
know.
good question.
Let's look that up.
Yeah.
Weird.
He's probably George Washington, which is where they take everybody in.
Yeah.
emergency.
Or TMZ has been paid because that does happen too. I mean, like
Sure.
Yeah.
people's
Catch and kill.
publicists or whomever, pay off paparazzi or like gossip rags or something like that. So that is also a possibility. And like also, if you think about the fact that his wife, his second wife, by the way, because his first wife, that was a disaster, and I think his children don't even speak to him. But his wife took off to China.
His first wife is very liberal. She's a
Yes.
professor.
Yes.
And his daughter, who from the first marriage, who
Mhm.
criticizes him constantly, turned off, I think, her Instagram or her
Mhm.
comments or something recently. So it's not looking
Mhm.
good for Mitch McConnell. Because,
Yeah. Someone saying in the chat that my former employer boss said that he's in GW. I will say my former employer is usually pretty good and about this because he has a lot of sources still within the Republican Party who hate Trump and hate all of this and pretend to like it and then leak shit to the grapevine. So his sourcing is usually pretty accurate on
Okay.
that.
Yeah, the internet
After Mitch
at quick
McConnell
glance doesn't.
dies. Sorry, go ahead, Dana.
Oh, just the internet does. It just says an undisclosed hospital. This is a quick, on
it makes
air.
it makes sense that he's probably at GW because that's where they take people. I don't know where he lives in the district, but
Yeah.
GW is a great trauma center, and
Yeah.
I'm sure he took Reagan after he got shot and so on. So
And to Claude in the chat right now, can't say I agree with that, but
Right.
good for you.
Wrong chat, Claude.
yeah.
Oh, I want to know what Claude said now.
How long after McConnell dies does it take until it comes out that he's gay?
Oh
Oh,
my God.
Lawrence says a whole
I'm not-
this is
I'm
apparently
not kidding. This
Yeah.
isn't a joke.
You
really?
think?
You think he's gay? He's just
I
so
get-
asexual.
Not think. I know that he is.
Like he's men who've hooked up with him, or that's like
I know that the gay mafia talks pretty openly about the fact he was dishonorably discharged from the military for having sex with men.
is that public?
Nope.
It is now.
I mean, allegedly, right? Allegedly. I don't want to get myself
Allegedly.
sued by somebody, as he lay dying. But
Well, Mitch can't sue.
Yeah, no, this is one of the giant hypocrisies of the Republican Party, kept secret for his entire career.
This is shocking. It takes a lot to shock me these days, and this is shocking.
I just never thought of him in any sexual capacity, one or the other.
I know,
Maybe
right?
that it
What about
was.
me? Like, it practically turned me straight, like the first time I heard it, and had to imagine.
Lawrence. Well, don't imagine it. My God.
I'm trying
heard
not
stories
to.
about Tom Cotton. I've heard stories about Tom Cotton for years. Different sexual stories. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And kinks and things like that. I've also
Lawrence, you have exploded the chat. The chat's all like this right now.
I
Right.
mean,
So,
again, people.
Naida is saying, who cares? I care because of Mitch McConnell, who's been the architect of the downfall of America and espoused some of the most clearly homophobic and anti-gay marriage and everything else laws, and kind of, has allowed all of that to happen under his watch as Senate Majority Leader.
Mhm.
I care if people are virulently homophobic in their legislation and living a secret double life. I don't believe in outing people except in this one instance.
Correct.
If you are a politician who is
support
literally
that.
legislating against other queer people, fuck you 6 ways from Sunday.
Thank you.
I had a close friend who came out to me and said he was gay, and my response was, okay, like didn't care, like, and I'm straight, because I thought that was like the right answer. It actually turned out to be the wrong answer, because for him it was a very big,
he's like, I couldn't
revelation.
believe that she didn't say anything, kind of thing.
well, like I couldn't believe that like that was your reaction, and I was like, and I thought my reaction at the time was very appropriate, because it was like, okay, you're gay, I'm straight, like couldn't care less what you do in the bedroom, you shouldn't care less what I do in the bedroom. I realized belatedly that was not the right reaction, and I apologized to him. But I'm saying that to respond to that chat comment about like who cares. It is. I mean, Lawrence, I don't want to gay explain to you, but it's like it's a defining part of who you are, right? And like, if Mitch McConnell's gay and he's pushing all this anti-gay legislation because he's a self-hating gay guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott Jennings was alleged to, what was that thing? Alleged to have like.
Oh, right. That guy from Hell's Kitchen who said that he used to go to like gay theater bars in Hell's Kitchen. I'm like, that totally, yes. Again, Scott Jennings is another one that I'm like, he wanted to be the star in the musical, because he's gone on these like right-wing podcasts, right? And he's been like, oh, this is showbiz and I'm just an entertainer or whatever. And I'm like, guys, if that is even crossing their minds, and not like, oh, I want to be a part of the solution for, making this country a better place or whatever. Like, I didn't get into politics because I wanted to be a star or I wanted to be on stage. I already did that. I don't need to I'm not that I was a star, but I was already a performer. I don't need to do that anymore. But these people, man, they got an itch and they're scratching it all day, every day. And I think so many of these people, and somebody brought it up in the chat, like for CPAC and for the TPUSA conventions, like all this stuff, there's a reason. And this is not lore. This is real. That Grindr, which is like the gay dating app, crashes because it's all based on location, right? I mean, right, Lawrence, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like show up somewhere.
It is completely based on location.
Right. And you turn your location on and you can be like, oh, so-and-so is 50 feet away. And then you can like look around the room and like message the person. But and also Heidi in the chat, confirm on the first and second part. Correct. You are correct on those things. But yeah, here's another thing for people, just so you know, I used to work for former Republicans for many years, and those people still talk to people in these circles and get information, and also tell tales of the before times, and all the weird shit that goes on in DC. I think if people knew like the eyes wide shut kind of shit that's going on in DC, and how it's like, it's the unspoken rule that nobody outs anybody. It doesn't matter like what side of the aisle you're on, how much weird shit people are in. They're like, no. Like, that's the one thing we don't do here. No, like even how bad these people are, they will not tell the tales. The only one who came close was Madison Cawthorn, who is the congressman, right. For one,
a young guy.
Yeah. And he said that he was asked to like join like orgies and like all kinds of stuff. And I think he said like Bill Clinton said that it was the most inaccurate thing from House of Cards the TV show was that they passed legislation, that all the rest of it stuff, like that stuff was accurate, like all the kinky, weird stuff. But yeah, I mean, none of this is surprising. I mean, how much are we going to find out about Lindsey Graham after he's gone?
Right.
And right,
Yeah.
somebody said Madison was ushered out quickly. Correct.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we started finding out things about Madison Cawthorn because they were like, all right, we can't have this kid around. He talks. He's got to go.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of flack in the chat for revealing that, and I
Why?
suppose I'm sorry if people are offended by that, but
Really?
I don't regret saying it. If Mitch McConnell has led this double life and has done so much damage to our country and to people who are queer in any way,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like holding
There's a
him
lot
to
of dead
account.
women in this country too. I mean, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mitch used to be pro-choice when he first got elected. We saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
The
unbelievable.
yeah, if the rumors are true, the amount of harm that is done by men who are not allowed to
Mm-hmm.
live authentically and have the partners they want to have
Mm-hmm.
is staggering.
And I think
Right.
that's, you just hit the nail on the head to bring it full back to Plattner. Like,
Mhm.
these are not authentic people. Like, Plattner was sold as this authentic guy. Of course, he wasn't living authentically, because authentically would be to embrace the Totem tattoo and to say, yeah, this is how I feel about. I mean, he was living authentically when he was putting those Reddit posts up.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that his consultants
Dance
tried
like
to-
no one's watching, and he did.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think that's the problem, that these politicians don't lean into who
Mhm.
they are. Like, just lean into it.
Yeah.
No, Sammy, Plattner was not taken down by a Republican smear campaign. Plattner did it to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Republicans made him post those Reddit posts before
Yeah.
he ran for office. No Republicans made him sexually assault, allegedly, women before he was running for office. That's not a
Yeah.
Republican smear campaign. Like, why can't we just own the fact that sometimes our own people suck?
Yeah.
Right.
He took himself down. And I have to say also, like, women aren't going to sit around anymore and go, oh, well, I know it hurts the cause, so I'm not going to say anything. After Cesar Chavez passed away, a woman came forward saying that she stayed quiet for decades.
Not
This
just a
man-
woman, his number two,
Yeah.
Dolores Huerta, who was as much as instrumental in his movement as he was, that he
Mhm.
raped her repeatedly and
Yep.
coerced her. And she
I think
didn't want- yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, I know from things I read, and I don't want to start talking about it, but it's like during the civil rights movement, there was all kinds of this shit going on too. I can't imagine the amount of women who stayed quiet because they didn't want to hurt the movement. And women aren't going to do that anymore. And it's going to be, yes, women like Julie and Gretchen. There's a cohort of younger women now who've kind of come forward since the Eric Swalwell situation, creating cover and support to women who want to come forward, or staffers who want to quit their jobs from these people. And they say, we will help you find new jobs. I mean, there is a support system out there now that did not exist even 10 years ago. And women are not going to sit idly by and take it anymore. And if you feel better about yourself, if you sleep well at night, thinking that it's other people doing this to us and not ourselves, because there's a bunch of men at the front of the progressive movement who also are misogynists and don't give a shit about women and what happens to us, we don't feel like we can trust anybody anymore. So, I'll just say that and leave it.
Well,
Yeah.
well said, Michelle. All the snaps.
I'm just like over it. I'm just over it.
Yeah, they're. I know in the Plattner case. Well, every time women come forward, there's always the timing. Why did this happen? This is a plan. Or they're being bribed to come forward. Blah blah blah. It's not really real. Julie, you would know this better than I would, but like when a legacy media source is running a story,
Yes.
I can't just walk into the Washington Post and be like, yeah, Graham Plattner, he assaulted me too. They will not just run Dana Dubois says.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's going to be a lot of vetting. They have legal teams.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I cannot tell you the number of outlets I've worked with. I can't tell you because I protect these women.
Right.
But I've had women come to me repeatedly and say, something horrible happened to me and I need to get this story out because until I do, this powerful person will continue to be a powerful person.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken it to the Times and I've taken it to the Wall Street Journal and I've taken it to every major news outlet. And they have run these stories sometimes, not always. But they will run these stories sometimes, but not always, because they need a massive amount of evidence.
Yep.
Or a massive amount of corroboration
Yes.
before they run these stories. They have, all of them have a standards legal department. The stories have to go through standards and legal. That is often the very last kind of straw. And sometimes standards and legal kills these stories that are very well researched because they don't want to get sued. So if you see a story come out in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or the Financial Times or Bloomberg or
WAPO,
Washington Post or any of these places, I promise you it is the result of weeks and months of really hard work.
Yep.
And so,
yes.
you know,
Thank you, Julie.
yeah,
My point substantiated.
Listen, there was an entire year I remember hearing chatter that there was a story being built at MSNBC that a pretty major anchor, primetime anchor, was working on against another tech mogul. I'll let you guys put two and two together about his misconduct toward another man. And this was going to be a huge story. And apparently like it was like, okay, it's going to be this week. No, it's going to be this week. And I heard all chatter, and guys, it never happened. I think for a couple reasons. Number one, he's an overly litigious man who probably would have sued the network into bankruptcy.
Oblivion.
And I think that that's probably a huge reason why they didn't do it. And I'm sure there was, they're like, okay, well, we don't have that. We don't have 10 examples of this. So therefore we're not going to go with the story. And these they happen all the time.
I was just on MS Now right before I did the show with Gretchen Carlson. And we were talking about, Plattner, but also talking about Trump. And Gretchen said, yeah, and he was, and he's been accused of, basically he's sexually, assaulted or acted inappropriately around like 24 people. And Eugene Daniels, the anchor, because he had to, jumped in and said allegedly.
Right.
Because they don't want to get sued. And I get it, because this Trump is super litigious. I get it. I mean, we
all these guys are, all of them.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right, Mary P123. Yep. Just look at how many times the stories about Epstein weren't run. The reality is, if you see the Plattner stuff out there, it is the result of many, many, many days and weeks and potentially even months. So the timing, sometimes people are like, oh, look at the timing. The timing was, they were perfectly timed to do this. No, the timing is when Standards and Legal says you can run the story. And Standards and Legal can take 24 hours, or Standards and Legal can take 24 months.
After like here's another thing is too, is like, we're living in a different time than we did even 10 years ago. Like these stories hit differently now. And yes, they're still met with the same, disbelief and apprehension, but like, a lot of these stories are coming to light now, like the Epstein stories, because nobody would have listened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, because they're still having a hard time listening today. But I know that we got to get going here. We've been at this for a little bit. The last thing I do want to just throw up, if you guys don't mind, did Dana go away?
Yeah,
she's just off camera.
I'm back.
For a minute.
Oh, okay. I was
Sorry.
like, no, it's fine. I was just like, oh no, what happened? I didn't know if it was just me.
I did 1 minute. I didn't want to interrupt.
good.
Someone wrote this. Okay, so totally going off topic. Michelle, did you see your boyfriend Matthew Reese had 2 Emmy nominations?
Oh boy.
Yes, I did. I just want to say that Matthew Reese was my secret boyfriend before anybody else, because I feel like I was an early adapter because I would loved him during the Americans. You know what I mean? I feel like I remember people like, Matthew Reese, really? And I was like, now that he's like, people are seeing him, and I'm like, see, I told you.
Brothers and Sisters. You never watched Brothers and Sisters pre-Americans?
No,
He played a gay guy.
Oh.
Yeah. He played the gay brother. Yep.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, watch his interviews with Conan O'Brien, all kinds of people. He's very funny, very Welsh, but furthermore, also so insanely talented. It's crazy. This is the first time in like 32 years that somebody has been nominated 2 times for an Emmy in the same category. So he's literally going against himself, which means he won't win. But
Oh,
for
that's
Widow's Bay and for Beast and Me, which terrified me. But anyways, Matthew Rhys is fantastic, and you love somebody having this kind of peak in their career later in life. I mean, he's in his 50s, which I just think is like awesome. And anyways, I just love him. And as an aside, yes, I did rent his wooden boat to go around Hudson River for my 40th birthday. Did I? Did it cost me a lot of money? It did. I didn't care because it was Matthew.
Wait, he has a wooden boat that you can rent?
He bought an old timey like 1930s wooden boat and had it like redone and refinished, and you could like rent it for like 2 or 3 hours, and it would ride around the Statue of Liberty, and they gave you snacks and drinks and things, and only like you could only fit like 6 people on this boat. It's very tiny. So I just grabbed, me and my 5 friends, and we rode around the harbor, and I was like, Matthew Rhys.
That is
You were
amazing.
you were
Can
just
we
like-
also, speaking of Emmys, can we also just say Hacks?
Never watched it.
Hacks.
Most
to watch Hacks.
Emmy
I need to
nominations
watch
for
Hacks.
a show in a single season ever.
The most perfect series finale, maybe
Perfect.
ever.
Yeah.
Maybe ever.
I
Just
need to watch that show.
I need to watch that
Oh my
show,
God, the
too.
2 of you especially.
What's it
Yeah,
on?
honestly,
HBO?
HBO.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have HBO. Damn it.
Well, you could probably download it on Amazon or something.
And,
Yeah.
well, and
or just
also
buy or
it's
just
worth
buy
it
the
to
series
like,
on like Apple or something for
Yeah.
like $30. I don't know.
right. Or just subscribe to HBO for like 2 months and watch
Yeah.
it and binge it. And it's so worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, the fact that you two haven't watched it.
Crazy to me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
A
not
show
allowed.
about,
Julie,
like,
Julie doesn't watch anything.
As,
but
as
yeah.
you know, I'm not allowed to watch anything because my husband, who just came in, so I hope he hears this. He can come back, only watches MSNBC or CNN or hockey or baseball or whatever sport is on, and we don't ever get to. And I don't want to watch stuff by myself. Like I want somebody to watch it with me.
Yeah.
Julie,
did-
I will fly to New York and we will binge Hacks over a
Come
long
on, you
weekend.
guys have a
and me and Michelle,
standing-
like,
You have a
We-
standing offer. and
We
a
keep
service.
threatening to come to New York.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
I'm so-
like you've got to see it. It is so
Don't threaten me
good.
with a good time, you guys.
The show that like breaks every Bechdel
God.
test
Oh,
rule in the
sorry.
entire universe.
Yes, or roll over 2 ducks. Yes,
Which I'm watching now. That's fun. It's so good.
yeah, for a good time. If we're not watching the news or sports, for a good time, we'll watch Hitler documentaries because that's
Yeah.
all my husband wants to
Yeah.
watch. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I just want to say one last thing here because I do recognize this handle, and I just want to say this person says just woke up. We're still upset about Plattner out there. The dude let us down. Buck up. It happens. I'm not even going to begin to say how offensive that is. It matters. It matters because of what is happening inside the Democratic Party. It matters because there's a bunch of misogynistic, white, Ivy League educated kids who are forcing themselves to the front of the progressive movement and choosing people like this who are unvetted, who hurt women, and are trying to push other women like AOC out of her trajectory towards running for president. So it does matter. It does matter. Yes, we're going to buck up and we're going to move forward, obviously. But we're allowed to talk about this because
It's this week.
It's this fucking week, dude.
this week,
It's our first chance to talk about it.
yeah, it's
Right.
this week.
It's the
And
first
also-
Saturday since it happened. We're allowed.
Yeah, yes, it just happened, but also like this shit matters. It matters. And it's going to dictate what the coup that is happening within the Democratic Party, which also is going to influence the future of this country. So yes, it matters. It matters. We will keep talking about it for as long as we feel like it. So anyways, that's it. Thanks.
Buck up, little camper. We're going to keep talking.
Buck up, campers.
Right. You don't like
Oh.
it, you can not watch.
Yeah. So anyways.
Michelle,
People say
I loved
something
your
back.
rants. That was amazing. Thank you. That was, it's been a hard, I mean, they've all been hard weeks. We're
Yeah.
living in an era of really hard weeks, but the Plattner thing,
It matters.
I wrote, I don't want to get into a whole new topic. We're about to leave, but I had an essay come out on Monday, which now feels like 1,000 years ago. That's just called "The United States Hates Women," and it talked about how hysterical has roots in like our anatomy, and we're always called hysterical, and we never get the, oh, you were right afterwards. Whatever we come
Never.
forward with, when we're
Never.
like, Roe v. Wade is going to be gone. You know, when Trump was elected the first time, we were told we were hysterical.
Yeah.
It happened. And there is never the moment when there's like, you know what? You women were correct.
Yeah, we were
I'm
right.
going to listen next time. And so how many of us were like, Plattner, are you sure? Are you sure? The Nazi tattoo, the women. And we were told to keep quiet because this was the candidate and there's a redemption arc. And we were like, yeah, but the men who do this don't tend, the skeletons closet, they're going to come out,
We speak
bite us
from
in the
experience.
ass. Yes. And then when it happens, there was no like, oh, you all were really right.
Never.
We get told to buck up.
Mhm.
What do you think we
He's our
do
president
every day
now.
when we get out of bed?
Yeah.
All we do is buck up
Yeah.
and never, ever get the acknowledgement that we were right and that we're going to be right about all the things that we're here on a Saturday morning talking about.
Yep. We speak from experience. This is
Yes.
a trauma-induced hypervigilance. We know what we're talking about. We can sense this
Yes.
stuff in our DNA. Listen to us. We're rarely wrong. We're rarely wrong.
Pattern recognition, baby.
And
Yeah.
we're not gonna shut up about it because
Nope.
it continues to happen in other places. And I will tell you, the next place where it's going to blow up is Michigan.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
oh yeah.
And I'm not saying, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying this because I am some APAC shill. I don't like Haley Stevens. I wish Mallory McMorrow were still in this race. I think Al Saeed is going to probably win this primary. But wait until the Republicans unload on him after he wins the primary. Because there is stuff in that background, friends, that is really problematic.
And Mehdi Hassan knows. He had him on his show.
Yep.
And if Mehdi Hassan is the one shining light on your fraudulent claims about yourself and your past, you are in trouble. Trouble.
Yeah, he will not release his tax returns because, and I quote, they're complicated. Who does that sound like?
Oh, I've heard this before.
Yeah.
I can't quite bring the person to mind, but I'm seeing orange everywhere.
Yeah, and so I'm saying this to you, not because I'm carrying water for Haley Stevens. I think she is horrible. I think Chuck Schumer made a massive mistake getting behind her and boxing out Mallory McMorrow. I think if this were a Mallory versus Saeed primary, she would have hopefully won and she would be in the Senate right now. That is a swing state, and this shit that works in Michelle's district in hyper blue New York is not going to work in Michigan.
Yep.
Look who the other
And
senators.
the same people who recruited all of these people recruited this guy too. They come from the same flavor of shitty vetting and,
And I really want to emphasize
inexperience.
that piece, vetting, right? Like it is good and okay for us to vet the people running in primaries in our party because we have to fucking do that. Because if you think somebody with a problematic background is going to win a Democratic primary and the Republicans are going to be like, oh, well, then we won't drop our Oppo research. You are living in a fantasy world. They are champing at the bit to run against these people who have all kinds of shit in their background because they know they will destroy them.
And I'll tell you right now, Mike Rogers is going, I mean, like, you guys, a noun, a verb, and APAC sucks is no way to run in a general election in a swing district. It'll get you enough to win the primary. It'll get all of these crazies from out of state to come in and hold you up like they did with Plattner. And they're about to do with Saeed. I'm telling you right now, it is not good enough in a swing state. It is not good enough in a swing state. Michigan is too important. We cannot win the Senate if we don't win Michigan. We cannot win the Senate if we don't win Maine. I mean, you really want to put all your hopes on Tallarico down in Texas? Like, you really think like this is the year that Texas goes blue?
And Turk in Iowa? Yeah.
Maybe you really want to put all your hopes in Sherrod Brown, who I think is a phenomenal candidate, is my platonic ideal of what a senator should be, Sherrod Brown. But you really think that Ohio is going to go blue this year? Maybe. But there's a better shot of some other states going blue states like Maine. And yet we have screwed the pooch on this one. And I'm telling you right now, and no, Democrats have not lost Maine over the Plattner smear campaign. Plattner lost Maine for us.
Y'all are mad at the wrong people.
You're wrong. You're mad at the wrong people. Women who are on the fence about whether to vote for Susan Collins or not are not going to vote for a guy who's been credibly accused of rape. Okay? That's not Democrats smearing him. That's a fact. The Black people who live in Maine, and there are not many, but there are enough, are not going to come out necessarily and vote for a guy that says that they're bad tippers because they're cheap.
Yep.
Members of the LGBTQ community are not going to come out and vote for a guy that disparages them. They're either going to stay home or vote for Susan Collins. That's not Democrats smearing Plattner. That was going to be tens of millions of dollars in digital ads to all the groups that I just mentioned, funded by some Republican PAC, reminding them of what Plattner said about them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's not us. That is us saving the chance of potentially defeating Susan Collins by this guy leaving the stage.
This is a last-ditch effort.
Yep. So shut the fuck up if you think Democrats caused this. Graham Plattner caused this because Graham Plattner has been alive for whatever time on earth he's been alive. And the one thing that Graham Plattner has that the rest of us haven't had is that he has lived in his own body for every moment of every day that he's been on earth. And so he knows what he's done. We don't, but he does. And despite that, he still had the fucking hubris to run for office in a swing state where millions and tens of millions of dollars were going to be spent exposing it.
Yep.
Okay? Nobody on this chat or in this group
Go,
or on
Julie.
the show knows what I have been through. Only I know what I've been through. And that goes for Michelle, and that goes for Lawrence, and that goes for Dana, and that goes for every single one of you. Only you have lived in your own skin your entire lives. You know what skeletons are in your closet, if any. And if they're like this, you don't run. By the way,
That's why Lawrence isn't running for office.
well,
There's videos of me on the internet having sex. I ain't running for office anytime soon.
you know what, Lawrence? Like, okay, guess what? Everybody has sex, so I don't really think that's a downer that you were having sex with people, unless it was involuntary with some minor. Like, I don't think that's a big deal. But my point is, I truly, truly don't understand how anybody can blame anybody but Graham Plattner and the morons from out of state that decided that he was authentic because he had a bunch of tattoos and spoke well and was an oyster farmer.
How insulting to actual working people
How
that you think you can
insulting.
put on a costume and be
Yep.
them.
And so I'm telling you right now, be very careful about who we nominate. Be very careful about who we nominate. If you're in a blue district, okay, fine. If you're people in blue districts who are now sending people like Darylizia Chevalier, who's going to probably not most likely, she is going to be Michelle's next congressperson. Okay, she's going to win because Republicans are not competitive in that district. You don't think they're competitive in Maine or Michigan?
Right.
Are you kidding? You don't see the shit coming out about Tallarico in a swing district, not a swing. I mean, in a competitive state. You don't see Sherrod Brown in Ohio. You don't see Alex Vindman in Florida.
Because they're good candidates.
Those are good
They're
candidates.
vetted.
They're
vetted.
vetted candidates. They're
Right.
vetted candidates because they have something that, oh my God, a wing of this party now thinks is completely disqualifying. They've been through public service before. Tallarico, elected official. Sherrod Brown, former elected official. Alex Vindman, probably the most vetted of all of them because God knows Trump tried to throw the kitchen sink at him in the military for all those years. And worked in the national security apparatus. And believe me, they're not going to put somebody in the NSA who has problems unless you work in the Trump administration. So
Can I say something that is probably unpopular and going to get me, canceled, which I think has happened 6 times this week already. I don't want to sound like the old man, right? But like me and Dana and Julie and Michelle, we're all old enough and have experienced enough political campaigns, especially Julie, who's been in the operation side of campaigns for a while. Like, if you are a younger Democrat and if you are blazing with the righteous anger of youth and you have a thing that you are particularly passionate about and that you're using that as a purity test or a litmus test, may I just gently suggest to you, listen to people who have witnessed these things happen over and over and over again in American politics over the course of the last 40 years. Vetting is real and good, and it must happen. And you know, you can have your purity test out there, but my God, you cannot cling to a particular candidate because you fall in love with them when they prove to you through their personal actions that they are not the right person to carry the banner forward.
Thank you for saying that. And I will also say to you, and I know this is very passe, and I know that, of course, this doesn't inflame anybody's passions, but I have yet to see a base voter, and by base voter, I mean the people who are really the base of the Democratic Party, which is Black women. And I have yet to see swing voters who are like, you know what? Gaza is my issue, man. I can't afford to fill up my gas tank. I can't afford to buy cleats for my son's, soccer. Forget cleats. I can't afford to buy back to school clothes that my kid outgrew from last year because I'm really struggling. I can't afford the price of groceries because they keep going up. I can't afford that vacation to Disney, but man, I'm less worried about myself than I am about what's happening in Gaza. And I don't care how passionate you are about the fact that you think there's a genocide happening there. I am deeply, and I mean deeply passionate about what's happening in Ukraine. Like, I am sick over it. Sick over it. And I will tell you right now, I have the luxury of focusing on that because I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I am atypical. And all of these young kids who are shutting down college campuses are lucky that they're able to be on college campuses and afford to be on college campuses, especially Columbia University, $100,000 a year, that they're able to do this. Real world, real swing voters, I promise you, I don't know how many focus groups I've sat through, not one of them gives a fuck. And if you have the luxury of caring about that, I congratulate you. I have the luxury of caring about it. Most people don't.
And the people who are going to make things happen on Gaza and Ukraine and the gas price issues and the clothes, like all, it's Democrats, right? There's zero chance that things resolve in the way that you want them to with Republicans in charge.
And all you fucking people, sorry, but to your point, all you fucking people, and I cannot tell you how many people went after me when I said this before on Twitter, and I'm going to say it again. I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. All you fucking people in Michigan who stayed home because you thought Kamala Harris was abiding a genocide, and you thought that Joe Biden wasn't good enough standing up to Benjamin Netanyahu, and all of your thing, and you're like, I'm not going to give a vote to those people. How's it working out for you with Donald Trump?
Yep.
How's it working out for you?
Yep. Listen, George Clooney wrote that op-ed because he was mad at Joe Biden because he wouldn't arrest Bibi Netanyahu in New York City.
Because his wife
wife
worked on that case. And I will tell you right now, George Clooney is now a French citizen. George Clooney is now living in France. He has left the country. You know why? Because, and by the way, you know how hard it is to get French citizenship? Believe me, I've tried. I have French family. I speak the language. George Clooney does not speak a word of French. George Clooney has no connection to France. George Clooney had expedited, he and his wife and his children had expedited French citizenship. Why? Because he's George Clooney. So George Clooney lit the fucking fuse, lit everything on fire, and then fucking took off.
I did not know that.
Peaced out. Oh yeah, George Clooney's no longer.
He did to me for a long time.
George Clooney's. I will not go fucking see another George Clooney movie for a long time. George Clooney, you know his excuse? Oh, you know what? My kids couldn't get privacy in LA. Fuck you, George Clooney. That's not why you're there. You're worried your wife's going to get arrested.
Yeah.
And we're George Clooney's op-eds about Donald Trump in the New York Times.
Yeah.
I don't think I've read one lately. Have you guys?
Yeah.
I haven't read a George Clooney op-ed against Trump.
Where are the books about how completely dementia Donald Trump is?
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you guys.
They're on Substack.
Listen to me, right? Well, they're not written by big anchors.
Nope.
Let me say this. Expertise, which is what we talked about before you got here, Dana, exists for a reason. I'm not suggesting that those of us who worked in the trenches for 30 years have all the answers. In fact, I said to somebody, I am too old to now understand the minutia of how to win elections because I've been out of it for, half a decade now, and things have changed tremendously. So I am the first to say that I should not be running campaigns anymore until I get back into the thick of things and really see how it is. But right now, if somebody handed me a statewide to run, I would turn them down. But I do know this because I still sit through focus groups and I still talk to voters professionally. Not once have I sat through a focus group, except for rich white liberals, where the word Gaza has come up. Not once. Not with Latinos, not with non-college educated white voters, not with Black voters. Not once. And I'm not making that shit up. I invite you, send money to Mayday, and we'll do a focus group right here so everybody can see it. I'm not kidding. It's about
Happily.
It's about $10,000 a group. I will convene, if somebody sends me $40,000 right now, I will convene 4 focus groups. It's about $12,000 a group. I will convene 4 focus groups: college educated voters, non-college educated voters, Black voters, and Latino voters. And you will see what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, that would be fascinating. We need to GoFundMe.
No, I'm serious.
$48,000.
Because I'm telling you, the shit that wins Democratic primaries is not the shit that gets people to come out to vote in November. Democratic
That's the
primaries,
disconnect. That's so true and
Democratic
so
primaries
interesting.
are fucking low turnout, and they are among the most committed people who are coming out irrespective of what happens in November. But there's a massive drop off. For instance, I'll give you an example. Black voters tend to vote less in midterms than they do in presidential elections. If you want Black ladies who are the backbone of this party and who are carrying this party and have been since Lyndon Johnson, who was the last Democrat to win an election with a majority of the white vote, not one presidential candidate who's a Democrat has won the White House without Black women or Black people, period. And I'm telling you right now, those ladies don't give a fuck. They may care about it in the conceptual sense. I mean, they may care about it from a human rights perspective. But if you think that's going to motivate them to come out to vote, if you think that's going to motivate anybody who has to balance a checkbook to come out and vote, white, Black, whatever color, Latino, it doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't.
Fighting words here at the end of the show, Julie, and I'm here for it.
Thank you.
Me too.
I gain so much from your expertise. I mean, that's why we're here.
And to all the Free Palestine people who show up and protest and do all of this stuff, I've seen you at Kamala Harris's book tour. I've seen you at the DNC convention. I've seen you continuously to this day showing up to protest people like Kamala Harris, but I have never seen you at a MAGA rally.
And can I say one more thing? I was lucky enough to have a conversation yesterday with Dr. Deborah Sushan, who is an expert in Middle East policy and used to work for J Street, teaches at Georgetown, et cetera. And we were talking about a land for all, the Confederation idea, and whether or not you agree with that idea and think that it is a good idea. A thing that I have started to notice is the people who are kind of most virulently running a purity test around Israel, Palestine, and Gaza are nowhere to be seen in the conversation around forging an actual peace, right? I find it incredibly curious that people are willing to use Gaza and the word genocide as a cudgel to beat folks over the head with, and they are not talking about the glimmer of hope, right? Like anything that is put forward as a possibility of what a positive endpoint might look like in that conversation. And like I said, you can disagree with the plan. I know that it is Pollyanna-ish, and in the face of everything that is currently happening, there are a million reasons to believe that it can never happen. But you believe so strongly in this, try actually organizing. Don't just fucking yell. Actually get out there and organize and try to make a difference. A Land for All is co-led by Palestinian people and Israeli Jews, and they are gaining momentum. And if you wanted to actually make a positive contribution, you could help them.
Yep.
Well,
sorry, I was just going to say, I am no Rahm Emanuel fan. I just want to make that very, very clear. Not a fan. However, He is the first person who I've seen speak to that in a rational, diplomatic, practical way in a very long time. And go watch him. He spoke about it a couple days ago. And anyways.
And friends, I'm going to just say one thing, then we can go because I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. Please learn the difference between a genocide and war crimes. War crimes is what is happening. A genocide is when somebody decides to wipe you out based on your demographic, period. If Israel wanted to commit a genocide, there would not be one Palestinian left in the West Bank and Gaza. And while they're committing war crime after war crime after war crime, the Holocaust was a genocide. The Armenian genocide was a genocide, in that if you were Armenian or Jewish, they just killed you. They didn't care what you were doing. Mm-hmm. There are many, many, many war crimes happening in Israel, and I hope people are being held accountable for them. Yeah, but a Holocaust and a genocide is very different. And on that note, I think we got to go. Okay. Guys, great to see you. And sorry, the Saturdays for Sanity was not so sane. We kind of really went down.
I think we
was sane. It was just on the heavy side of things.
Yeah, on the heavy side.
We struck a balance. I think we struck a balance.
Yeah,
and that's all I'll say. Yeah.
Okay. All right. On that note, we will see you guys in the next few days. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.